welcome to episode 29 of It's All Geek to Me, the pop culture chat show where three friends with varying degrees of nerd knowledge get together once a week to have a chat about all things geek. My name is Rich Gittins, and joining me this week and every week, it's my buddy Chris Lumb. Come out, Lummy.
Hello.
Hey, dude, how you doing? You're frantically still trying to find images for the show tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a bit of backstage news there.
It's all right. Didn't need to mention it, but you did.
I know.
Just downloading another one now for you. There you go. There's an update.
How is it up there, Lummy? Is it a bit warm up there?
It's bloody boiling. Everybody's boiling. Everybody's sweating. Everybody don't know what day it is, and everybody's tired. So it's going to be a good one.
It might be a bit warm up there. It's a bit warm down there as well. It's a bit sticky. I might have to sort of reposition
you're in
myself.
Gym jams anyway, are you?
I am. I'm wearing pajama bottoms, the loosest clothes I have. But I'm just baking. It's hot. It's hotter than Hades.
It's like Robin Williams in it in Thingy when he says to that guy, "What's the weather like?" It's hot, damn hot. That's nice if you're with a lady, but it ain't no good if you're in the jungle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Good Morning Vietnam. What a film. Do you know what? I still get sad about Robin Williams.
I know. I'm doing a Robin Williams special in a couple of weeks on radio show, and I was going through music, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, you still miss him, don't you?" It's bizarre.
Yeah,
bizarre.
Yeah,
anyway,
you do. You had a good week, anyway.
It's been all right, yeah. Just gigging here, there, and all over the shop, and
nice.
Waiting for audiences to come back. But happy Freedom Day as well.
I was about to say. Are you feeling freer today than you were yesterday?
Oh, absolutely.
Should we get Webby out?
Let's get him out.
Come on, Webford. Come on,
just for Tarantino.
Tarantino tribute.
Just for Tarantino with his bloody foot fetish, but we'll get to that.
Dirty old trotters there,
Oh,
Webby.
hang on.
How's it going?
Hey, Pop Not Broth. Welcome.
Never early.
How dare you just join in late, Pop Not Broth. That's all right. Don't worry. Welcome to the show. I hope you're feeling cool and you're refreshed and you're not in a really small, sweaty room like I am. Webby, how you doing, mate?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right, yeah. You know, if moaning about being hot...
Oi, my eyes are up here.
Moving some wires. I've got wires. Hey. Wires everywhere. If moaning about the heat cooled you down, I think we'd be all fucking fine. But every person I spoke to starts moaning about, I'm hot too, man. I'm hot too. As you might have noticed, I had an haircut the other day, and I asked them what's the hottest haircut you can give me for the weather that's upcoming.
Webby,
they left all these bits of the stuff flipping. It is hot.
Dude, you do look hot. My girlfriend is sort of Southern European, and she loves this weather. Like the rest of the year, literally, apart from these 2 weeks, she'll even now actually in this weather, she can lie on the sofa with a blanket over her. And I'm just sat there in just my pants with the fan in front of me, rubbing a fucking Calippo all over my body. And I'm just like, how can you do this? It's insane. I cannot do it. I've had 4 or 5 cold showers today. Still hot. No, it's still hot.
Unrelated.
Unrelated, yeah. Still hot. And horny.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. You know, I mean, Rich forgets every single time he speaks to me that whatever's going on, whether it's hot or cold, he will tell me about it. You believe me, he will tell. But he tells me like he's never told me before.
Not when it's cold. I'm all right with the cold.
I suppose. I
like the cold. I'm
bloody freezing, Webby.
But I like it. I like that though.
I'm dreaming about it now, man. I'm dreaming about it.
I'm an autumnal child, even though I was born in spring.
What nobody prepares you for is in your 40s when it gets warm.
Is that about?
It's the Calippo. It's the
it's in the shower. I think it's.
I'm guessing.
Scarda.
In a cold shower. It's a very small image, Daisy. I tell you.
Actually, she said there's a mental image. She said whether that's good or bad, and we know. We know that Daisy likes to.
She likes to keep it ambiguous. You know what I mean?
That's what we love about Daisy. Hello, Daisy.
Hello,
everybody else who's.
What's that picture? It's like
Troubled Days.
I mean, should have with a new T-shirt.
It's a nice T-shirt, Daisy. It's a lovely T-shirt. Welcome everybody to the show this week. Feel free to leave a comment down below. We're trying to build a community here, just like Martin's done right there. It does smell like sweaty balls outside today. And throw the clip on in. No. It's a special shape, and it keeps things cool. I
think he's saying you just put him off his Calippo, mate. Yeah. That's what he's saying. You're trying to eat one.
Do Do you know, I'm sorry about this, but do you know when you've got something stuck in your tooth? I've got something stuck in my tooth. I can't shift it. I've been trying for about an hour.
Bloody hell, what is this bloody boring 40-year-old white men problem? What is this shit?
It's the new podcast everybody's talking about.
I'm too hot and I've got something stuck in my teeth.
Oh, and this tea's cold as well. Oh.
I wanted to check with you, gentlemen, as we're talking about 40-year-old sort of white virgin problems. Are you do you wake up on your own accord, or do you find increasingly that, I mean, Webby, it's a daft question for you, do you find increasingly that other external forces wake you up? Because now I've moved in with somebody else, I just find that it's the kids across the road being sort of let out into the garden at 7 o'clock because their parents can't stand to hear their noise, so they're like, fuck it, you're the neighbour's problem. Or it's my girlfriend's got this weird click that she does in her sleep with a
oh yeah, I got one of them. My
what the hell?
That as well.
And it's rhythmic. It's, you know, or my dog just pounces on me just to lick my
I wouldn't
face
mind so much if it were like in time. Do you know what I mean? If it kept a rhythm, but it's totally random and sporadic, and then it's interspersed with bouts of snoring, so it's kind of difficult. But
when did you sleep with my girlfriend?
I can't complain about the lack of sleep because it's my own fault for having a kid, and also I've been a sleeper in my entire life, man. My entire life, every job I've had has always been shift work, so it's always been working primarily at night. So I've always been one of those guys who gets up at like between 11 and 1 o'clock until I had a kid. So I can't complain. I've had enough. Do you know what I mean? I've had my fair share of sleep-ins. However, you have got an issue with this, buddy, because wherever you go, the fucking noise follows you around. So it's either you when you need mental help or earplugs. A simple solution, I know, but that shit crazy
uncomfortable.
It might just be you, mate. Maybe you've got you need a place in the middle of the countryside where nobody ever wakes you up other than fucking farmyard animals.
The birds will be too loud then, though, for him.
No, I tried that once, and all I could hear was gunshots. Like just foxes being killed, and that just made me sad. That just bummed me out, man.
You know. On my point about being 40, right? Nobody prepares you for stuff like this. That all of a sudden you go from being a regular person to a 40-something person on days like this. I mean, I can't lie. I must have tripped over my own testicles at least twice today. The heat just hits you right in the nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on?
Yeah. It's insane.
What are you on about?
Only to content. Well, it's all right. It's all right for you, you small nuts. But yeah, stuff like that. We're not prepared enough. We need more explanation about these things when you're young, so you know what to expect.
Well, you hear these. Look, thing is, we hear these anecdotal comments when we're kids from people who are actually our age, but we don't realize. We're only starting to realize that they were our age now when these things are starting to happen to us, and all those things are like, stop moaning, yeah, whatever. I'm invincible now. Suddenly, we're experiencing them, and they're amusing. As how you doing? Welcome to the show. Right, do you know, I'm glad that, because normally I get told to shut up and stop moaning when I'm complaining about this weather, but I think the sun is my nemesis. It's when it's like this, it's just too hot.
I think that makes me sad, man. That makes me a bit sad because I think that's a bullshit thing that's happened to me in the past 10 or 15 years. Because when we were younger and we went to Greece, we were in the sun all the time. It was lovely. You know,
that's different. If I'm next to water, that's fine. When I'm carefree and I'm next to water
in your room, simple.
Paddling pool.
Yeah, get your feet in a paddling pool and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that always makes you feel better if you get your feet in a paddling pool, preferably your own. Don't be.
I was going to say, the kids next door are frowning on it, and their parents really aren't happy. Yeah, exactly.
You shouldn't have pushed them out of it, man. Nobody said just like push them as hard as you can.
Oh,
I didn't push them out in it. I pushed one out in it. It was.
I've got a new edition.
Floating.
I've got a new edition. I made a magnet poster board. This.
Nice. Ooh, nice. So, I can see Ghostbusters there. I can see Ghostbusters.
You get your magnets of your favourite films. You stick them on the board.
Nice. I'm glad you explained that to me, Lummy, because I was struggling with the concept of magnets and magnet boards.
Pretty fucking technical, isn't it? That
it is. It is. What are these magnates that you talk about?
So a magnet, it's like one side's like not magnetic, basically. The other side is, and if you stick it to a magnetic surface, it sticks.
I mean, you still haven't explained the theory behind magnetism, but
it's an attraction. Something which you don't know about.
No, struggle with that.
I recognise some pictures off your board, and they're really tiny. So let's have a go. You got Jaws, you got ET, we got Back to the Future trilogy. I see Ghostbusters 1 and 2, Indy, Star
Indy
Wars,
1, 2, and 3. Where's 4? What is it?
I don't. It's not there, is it? You got Jurassic Park, right? What else you got?
That got blown up in the nuclear blast as it was in the fridge. That was on the fridge.
Excuse me.
Well, you should get one of them. Get yourself a magnetic poster board. You can put your favourites on.
All right.
Well, I will do. Thanks.
Taking the piss. I might as well too much spare time now. It's not on hold. Still filming it. We'll get to that, Martin. We'll get to it.
Now, apparently, you were spotted in some footage this week, Lummy, in the background. I've had some people messaging me. Some of our geek community have been messaging me this week, asking. Actually, Martin. It was Martin asking me if that was you in the background spying on Indiana Jones in the news report on BBC News this week. Was it you, Lummy? Were you spotted in the background this week? And can we see the pictures that you took? Because yes, it was you.
I've got the pictures. It wasn't me because I'm not driving 5.5 hours to Glasgow to go stand in a crowd watching Indiana Jones.
Not after Harrison Ford shouted at you that last time. No.
Yeah, exactly. So we have got pictures though. So these have been all over the internet. So as you can see, there's an American parade in Glasgow. For the Moonland's got your green screens at the back of his Herbie for some reason at the back there.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've only just seen that literally now. So they've been filming this. There's some footage online of the actual scenes taking place, about 3 different takes of them doing it. And as you can see there, look, Harrison Ford's stunt double on his horse.
Nice.
Along, and he's being chased by this dude on his motorbike. And there's
a bad dude.
It does look like a bad dude.
And there's this stunt double there. We saw that.
Oh, this is the slowest ever way to watch a fucking movie in life. It's ridiculous.
Wait, look at the mask. Whoa, go back one. Look at the mask that the guy's wearing. Is it his own face or is it Harrison Ford's?
It's a mask. Oh no,
I know it's a mask, but he's got a face printed on it.
Yeah, but that's not the Harrison Ford guy. This guy is obviously in here.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I'm just wondering if he's got Harrison Ford's face printed on his mask.
No, maybe just one of them funny men who thought, I'll buy a novelty mask that looks like I'm pulling a silly face.
You can buy them. B&M Bargains have got them. You can buy that mask and all sorts. Then you got this photo here of Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Nice.
She looks like some kind of hippie.
I reckon she's... Yeah, but
to be fair, that could be her own clothes.
No, because somebody took some photos later and she were in.
I reckon. Yeah, we're not quite on the money yet with what her character is. It's probably going to be some feminist, rebellious, studenty type, professor type thing. I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, this footage is on YouTube of the filming 3 takes of this stuff, and it was pretty interesting, I guess. You can see there the guy with the guy on the bike behind the other guy. That's obviously a camera bike, so he's filming it that way. They filmed it 3 separate ways. They all see.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then there's also this picture of these 2 ladies in astronaut uniforms as well, which is
awesome.
But yeah, so that's a bit of indie news. Antonio Banderas has joined the cast as well. I can't
believe they're still adding cast.
Yeah,
in the middle of
it's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy.
There is a casting call for extras for the film still online.
Go for it, buddy.
I'm not going.
Go for it. Weirdly enough, so something, I guess, eventful kind of happened to me this week. We ended up watching the England final, and I noticed Tom Cruise sitting in the audience. Right, he sat next to David Beckham.
Yeah,
not that much of a big deal. And then, weirdly enough, this weekend the Formula One was on in the background.
He's there as well, isn't he?
And Tom Cruise was there with Harrison Ford. He's sitting there watching a bit of Silverstone. So you might not have had to go as far as Glasgow to go see him, mate. Maybe.
I think it's really awesome how many sporting events that Tom Cruise is able to go and see.
Flying everywhere. Well, we've got a few more comments. I don't know what days. I don't know what PBS.
PBS.
We're not cool. We're not down with the cool kids, Daisy.
What does that mean on the street, Days? We don't know.
Be back soon.
Have to tell us. Oh yeah, be back soon, maybe. Yeah. She won't be coming back. Lummy's third pick with hat and mask.
With the hat and mask, that was you, Lummy. There we go. That was you. That was your disguise. So if I wear a Harrison Ford mask print on my mask, John Wick 4. Did you guys see John Wick 3?
I think I checked out around 2.
I saw it. I saw number 3. It was good.
I saw number 3. I enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't as good as the first 2.
It was no Bill and Ted 3.
Oh, I saw that the other week. Oh my god, that was that was.
I like them all. I like him. I like Keanu. He can't do all wrong apart from
Keanu.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we talked about his daughter in it, didn't we? She was brilliant. She was really good.
We've got Martin said Tom Cruise. Leo, yeah.
Do you know what? I'm giving it.
We've got what BBS means. It isn't be back soon. It's bring back meeting.
Oh, I see. Oh! You want to hashtag that, you lazy bugger?
Yeah.
Stick a hashtag on it.
Bring back
what were I going to say?
Yeah, we all like Smeaton here, won't we? A bit of a laugh. So
we're ready for a tiny bit of news. I've just remembered a bit.
Yeah. Go on.
Give us for those of you that ever wondered what happened between Batman 1989 and Batman Returns, there is a comic book coming out called Batman 89 with shows you. So it's designed around the movie, obviously. So your Batman looks like Michael Keaton and all the rest. But what they've done in it is they've shown you the full evolution of Harvey Dent, of Billy D. Williams' Harvey Dent. So Harvey Dent is in it as Two-Face, but he's Billy D. Williams. So you're seeing what you never actually saw in the movie. Have Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. So this is coming out, I think, in September. It's going to be a little run of 89 comics. Catwoman and everybody's in it. But they're all, they're around.
I think I've got a picture for you, Webb.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, I've got it for you. There you go.
Ooh.
Lovely. There you go.
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much that's it, isn't it? It looks
man. It does look just like him.
Yeah, half of him does anyway. I like the way in the background the poster was two-faced as well. You see that's half a poster of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have any news this week, gents?
Well,
what's going on?
On the Batman theme, yes, we have.
That link segue.
Set photos from the Flash movie, which everybody's been putting these up, so I don't know where I got them from, or somebody off Twitter. But the Batmobile's back. The '89 Batmobile. Here we go.
All right. Okay.
Look at that. It's
awesome.
back. A couple of shot from the back. Look at that. There you go.
I mean, is it wrong that I'm way more excited for that shit than I am for anything to do with the Flash movie?
Flash,
considering DC's latest sort of efforts.
Yeah,
but this is the same. But this is the same. It's the same Flash that was in the Justice League, right?
Yeah. So they're doing.
I really enjoyed that version of the Flash. It's the first version of the Flash I've actually taken any notice of. And
too bad, when started watching
that. But TV show, that's a different kid, though, isn't it? It's a different actor.
Yeah.
It's a different version of the Flash. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Justice League one, so I'm going to look forward to it.
But the fact they've got Michael Keaton in it, I think it's interesting what they're doing. All this, they're going like the Marvel, obviously multiverse, and there's another picture here of the Batcave, so that's obviously the old school Batcave. But it'll be interesting to see what they're going to say about what he's been up to all that time. So.
But we're assuming that he's going to get to Batman before he's a pensioner. Is he still going? Do you think he's still going to be Batman? A much older version of.
Judging by his car and the Batcave, I would say he's still out there doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And when is the film coming out?
Well, there was the Batman story about him being really old. And they were on about at one point they were going to have Clint Eastwood playing him, weren't they? At one point. I don't know the title of the story. I'm not up on all my Batman stuff.
It's from the Frank Miller stuff, The Dark Knight Returns, which is a totally reimagined version of Batman. It's quite an epic thing. There's a new third part of it, which I haven't read yet, called The Master Race. It's a Frank Miller one that came out. I mean, it's 30 years ago since The Dark Knight Returns and The Dark Knight Strikes Back, I think. They were the two Frank Miller ones. And they just told that story about Batman being a bit older but still hard as nails. And I believe that's the one where he fights Superman in it and builds the bit from Batman versus Superman where he builds the armor that's got kryptonite in it so he can take him down. It definitely is, because there's a bit in it where Batman has his foot on Clark's throat, on Superman's throat, and it's really weird to try and convey this when you're not reading the comic, but when you're reading the words, he's saying to him, I want you to remember this, Clark. I want you to remember that it was me that fucking took you down. As he's got his foot on his throat, it's just a great little bit in the comic. It's really unusual to see Batman actually kick the shit out of Superman. It's good. But I tell you what, it's got a very divisive art style as the Frank Miller stuff. You either love it or you hate it. It's quite scratchy, it's a bit different, so you either love it or you hate it. I don't mind them at all, so yeah. But
we've got a few more comments at Martin's. Also doing a film about the hotel from John Wick's.
Cool.
All right.
I don't know what that.
Isn't that a hotel where all the
all the like assassin people?
Yeah, exactly.
That makes more sense. Although it's just a random.
Coming soon, the Waldorf. It'd be the comings and goings of that place. I would imagine that sounds pretty cool.
It sounds a bit like Hotel Artemis, which is Jodie Foster, isn't it? She runs a hotel where assassins go and stay.
So they've already made it. So don't bother. John Wick.
Gents, we've got quite. Do we have any other news? Because we've got quite a packed show this week.
Must be a dig. All right.
Oh no, we know how you feel. Don't worry, we talk about it all the time, Days. When Lummy's not around.
Billy D, that looks
used
cool.
To that son of a bitch. No money.
Well, don't worry, Nat'll be back in a couple of weeks. What's she? She's coming back.
Week after next.
Semi-regularly.
Week after next, Nat'll be back.
Week after next, we're going to have part 2 of our Harry Potter.
Unfortunately,
special.
She's so busy all the time. She can't come on every week, else she'd be here.
That fucking soap's not going to sell itself, Lummy.
It's not. There's cucumber face masks.
No, they're not.
So, gents, we have got quite a packed show this week. We've got quite a lot to talk about. But I finished Loki now, and I know you guys have both finished it. And I know that some of the community won't have watched all of it yet. So, as unspoilery as possible, what do we think of the series?
Good.
Good. No, spoiler-free good.
Pretty good.
Oh, you said spoiler-free, didn't you?
Spoiler-free. There's some really hammy performances in it. Put it that way.
But are you on about the end in the last episode, or is that the one? Yeah, I think so.
I think I know exactly who you mean.
So do I.
But with a character like that, they've got no other choice but to make him as gregarious as possible. Because once you learn who that is and his implications on the Marvel universe,
we know.
It's a pretty big deal.
It was just
quite
some
tough
interesting.
To talk about it without spoiling it, isn't it?
I mean, I can't believe Harrison Ford showed up at end though.
Yes, that was hilarious. Because you put that in the chat. You put that in the chat, and Webb hadn't seen the last episode, and you were like, "I haven't seen the last episode. I really hope that doesn't happen."
Tom Cruise popped up as well because he's everywhere else at the moment in the team.
It wasn't in it. It was just in it watching something.
Owen Wilson is awesome, and I had no idea that Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson was the partnership I've always wanted to see, the buddy cop sort of partnership I've always wanted to see on TV. Yeah. They're brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and it also goes into more depth of the multiverse, doesn't it? To the point where it has its own Fallout cartoon style infomercial sort of thing of how all that works. So I'm just wondering I was wondering all the way through it whether it was a vehicle for them to go balls deep on this whole multiverse thing in the next phase of the MCU.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah. They're not just going to leave it where it. Well, we can't talk spoilers, but they're not just going to leave it where it ended. They go.
No, Series 2 is already penciled in, so that's not a spoiler. It's just a fact.
But also to kind of communicate, maybe in the other films, there's just going to be quite a big leap. So people might have needed to see the Loki series to be able to be abreast of the understandings of how it works.
Well, not only that, but WandaVision as well. If you haven't seen any of these series, if you watch these new films, you'll be like, what? What's going on?
Yeah.
See, I'm not sure. I think because I know somebody who doesn't watch them all, they sort of inform me when they feel a bit lost. Right. When they don't. I think they've been really cleverly done.
Films, they're all going to be tied into all this multiverse stuff. So if you haven't seen it,
I reckon you're
right. It's not like before when you know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, I've never seen that, and I won't like.
I tried it. Wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
No, mine neither.
I didn't really like it. Yeah, I'm a bit hit and miss with the TV stuff. But I did watch Black Widow. Anybody seen that yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, I better not say it.
I think you mentioned it last. You saw it last week, didn't you?
No, I mentioned it last week, but I hadn't seen it last week.
Okay.
But
is it any good or what? Or...
Difficult to say. I'm really aware that whatever I would say might sway somebody's opinion about it. I liked it. It was good. Just felt like.
Whose opinions are going to sway, by the way?
Yours. I'll be honest with you, Nate. I'll be honest with you. I took yours with a pinch of salt when you told me, because yours is the only one that I've seen anything. You've not said anything negative about it, but you were just kind of like, yeah, it's all right. You know, it didn't blow you away. Whereas a lot of other people I've seen on social media are like, that was brilliant. So
some bits of it were really, really good. Towards the end of the first Avengers movie, I believe. Oh no! Wait a minute. No,
it's after
it's just the whole Tesseract thing.
No, Civil War. Because she's on the run, and so is Captain America, and that's mentioned in the film that they're still on the run. So you know where you are. What it has done is by killing off Black Widow, you can't just replace Black Widow's character with anybody. So they've cleverly found a way to introduce like 3 new characters that added together probably have the same weight as Black Widow. Mm-hmm. I tell you what I did enjoy. David Harbour was brilliant in it. You know, the guy from Stranger Things. He's playing the Red Guardian.
Who's David Harbour? Who is he playing in Stranger Things?
He plays the cop in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Hellboy as well.
Hopper.
That's it. Hopper.
Yeah,
so he's on a little roll at the minute. He's doing really well. I think he's great, and he was great in it. And so was
between Winter Soldier and Civil War.
Okay.
So yeah, it was interesting. It was all right. It I don't know, it didn't blow me away, but
okay.
Yeah.
I loved Loki, and I was really happy that I had waited till all 6 episodes are out so I could just sit and watch them over 2 nights.
Yeah, I wish I'd have done that.
Yeah, it was like watching a 4-hour, 5-hour Marvel film, which they're almost that long anyway. It was great though. It was really, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Much better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah,
much
totally.
More enjoyable.
But a different kind of show, a little bit more intellectual, I guess. You need to have a brain in your head to follow what the hell they're on about with the time traveling and the ideas they've got there and the connections to the multiverse and the branches of the timelines and stuff. You need to know a little bit, I guess. But yeah, I really enjoyed it too. Tom Hiddleston's great.
Amazing.
Great as Loki. Absolutely great.
We've got somebody coming in. Hang on. Did you tell them about my Batman news?
Can I admit, look,
did, Billy D.
Am I the only person who's a tiny bit disappointed that it wasn't Smeaton?
I'm always disappointed that it's not Smeaton.
Billy D. Williams comes in, and I'm sorry, Billy D, about that.
Billy D. Sorry,
what this is? This is a classic case of 1 out of 3 of us being overexposed to a person. Lummy's worked with Natalie for years and years. So it's like Natalie Schmatterly. Blah blah blah. Go on about. We haven't. We've been deprived, and he's had too much Natalie.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
You can't have too much Natalie. You can't have
the odd show's not bad. The odd show's all right, you know.
We love you, Lummy. We love you, Lummy.
You've got to have in this game, and sometimes it falls flat. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Don't worry, mate. We'd never, ever, ever replace you.
Hey, I said to her last week, come on in. She was here watching. Said, come on in. Come on. Threw it down.
Actually, I thought she was a bit mean to our viewers who were sat waiting for her. Who said all those nice things, and she was like, "I'll be on in 2 minutes," and then she fucked off. Did we see her again?
That's classic humble Nat. That's classic humble Schmeagles. That's what that is.
That's not humble. That's laying your fans down. She's got fans demanding her in, and she didn't come in.
Do you know what?
That's pissing around. That's why she didn't take them seriously. They don't really mean it.
I know what it is.
Realised they meant it.
I know what it is. She's savvy. She's the consummate professional. She's left them left them wanting more. That's what she's done.
Yeah.
So,
That's brilliant.
We should do that more often. Do you have any other news, or do we have any more comments, Lummy, before we move on?
No, there's no more. There's no more comment. Oh, hang on. Young Avengers now has its young Loki.
Yeah.
What's Young Avengers, Martin? I don't know what that is.
Young Avengers is all the young versions of the Avengers.
That's amazing. Can you explain to us? Can you explain to us what magnets are again, Lummy, as well?
What you do?
No, seriously. Hang on. Seriously. The Avengers. So for me, the Young Avengers needs to be about a bunch of kids who, unless they're related, don't meet until they're in their 20s. Because we've seen Avengers assemble, and we know they don't get together, and they don't get assembled till later on. So what the fuck are they talking about? Is this a cartoon? I need to know more, Martin. I'm going to have to Google it. I'm not relying on you, Martin. I'll use me own internet. Thanks, man.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I'll go look into that. I've got questions.
Your questions?
I have, yeah. You know what I learned today, right? I learned a little bit about how what they showed you from the version of Thanos that you saw in the Avengers movies is the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Thanos, and some of the stuff they could have put in this film that is involved in Thanos' storyline is absolutely insane and makes you really realize how he was such a glorious bad guy. So, for example, one of the things is in the comic books, Thanos takes Hulk as his pet and he ties him up to his throne with a cord around his neck, right? And not only does he do that, he makes him eat Captain America. And when he's not tied to the throne, he lives in a pit of bones. And among the bones are all the Avengers that Hulk killed and Thanos killed. So you've got like Falcon's bones and like everybody that he killed. There was something else. Oh, in the comic books, he squishes Falcon's head with his hands. Thanos is about to fight him and he just goes claps like that, and claps his fucking head.
Brilliant.
Squishes his head to just unbelievable stuff like that. I was like, wow, he sounds dark as hell. There was loads more as well. Thanos killed his own mum and killed his own dad, but separately. So he killed his own mum because he went back to see his mum after learning. He tried to experiment on his own mother to figure out why he was so evil, to see which bits of her had been responsible for that. So he basically performs a live autopsy on her. She dies halfway through. Yeah, and then he shows up to meet his dad with some questions about who he is, and he ends up punching a hole in his dad's fucking stomach, right through his stomach, kills his own dad. He was a total psychopath, yeah. So I thought I was quite interested in learning a little bit more about the comic side of Thanos and why he's such a badass.
That seems
naughty man.
That seems a seamless link for our next segment, which is best and worst live action kids shows. So last week we talked about animated kids films. So not kids films, animated films, right? Animated motion films. This week we're talking about Pop Not Broth, Thanos Spice Cards.
Get before the kids.
That's the 5-star comment of the show. That, see if you could top that, brilliant. Kids. That was a good one. I like that.
So, gentlemen, this week I challenged you with picking your best and your worst children's live action TV shows. So we've done best and worst cartoons before, but this time we're looking at best and worst live action TV shows. And Lummy, let's come to you first this week.
Well, I went for something which I cleared with you guys, but as a kid, it wasn't really made for kids, this show, but I wanted to pick it because I used to watch it as a kid. Every week it were on, and I went for Quantum Leap.
Yeah, nice.
Love it.
So it wasn't like, I didn't know if it fell in the category really.
You know what?
TV.
I guess we could have picked like 18 or Knight Rider or things like that, and Quantum Leap was
maybe
in that primetime TV slot. I just guess I was a tiny bit older when Quantum Leap was on than 18.
But so. BBC Two, this used to be on. I loved it. Watched it every week with a.
Maybe we should just call this category shit you watched when you were a kid, because it don't really matter, does it?
It was too hard, this one, really, because there was all sorts. you could have picked. But yeah, it's but Quantum Leap. I just thought, well, we can talk about this because it deserves a mention. Great series, great pairing them two.
Scott Bakula's awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah. Which he's never been in that. He's never really. He's been in loads of stuff, but not. He's never reached that height. I think that.
Do you know what? I feel like with him though, it's a choice because he could, but he takes these little parts and things, and he did the Star Wars thing, didn't he? He did Enterprise, and he was the lead in that. So
yeah, and that's a good show.
He's like Nathan Fillion is one of those guys that's really, really beloved by the Comic-Con community, by the geek community.
But I mean, for an actor, this series you got so much chance to play all these different things. It was, I just thought it was great. I thought he was great in it. Yeah,
Do we?
You never
do
knew
you
whether
know how
it was
many
pop into the body of a serial killer or a woman or a
great premise, and they've never remade it as well. Which
that would be be interesting if they did properly. But this is what So this is let me. It's the question I've been trying to ask. How many series was it? A series?
5 series.
It did come out in series. It wasn't one long running show. And so how many episodes do you know?
Got 22 and probably I think series 1 there weren't as many. Maybe I don't know if there are only 6 episodes in series 1, and then it went on. Then they usually do it, don't they? They do a low series,
add an amount,
and then go to 22 when it gets picked up properly. So I seem to remember there only being 6 episodes or 7 in first.
So there's what about 40, 50 episodes of the show altogether. Yeah. And as Nathan said, did it ever resolve itself? Did he ever get back to his own timeline?
There'll actually be 80 odd episodes. Sorry, I'm just
97.
97 episodes. Wowzers!
Yeah. All right, so no, the ending of the film. I don't think the series. I don't think this will be spoilers. It came up. A lot of fans are disappointed by this ending because it just came up and said Sam Beckett never returned home, and everybody were like, "What?" So he kept.
Wow! Wasn't it the first? I think this was a bit of a catalyst for geeks complaining about stuff as well, because wasn't it the first one that they picketed at the studios when they cancelled it? People showed up to protest. Yeah, I seem to recall they protested it. Or maybe they didn't show up, but they definitely.
No, the original
about it.
One of the original stories for something getting cancelled and picked up, of all things, was the original Star Trek series. That was a massive campaign and famous for getting basically back on the air because of the fans, because they went mental, and then they had to pick it back up. So, but there's been a few things like that. A lot of TV cop shows, I think. They had letter writing.
This is a bit unrelated, but I feel like it's a question we should ask. If there was something from the past that you could uncancel, what would it be? Because I would have Lost sorted out, sort the last couple of series of Lost out, make it flow like the original series did, make that feeling that it's going somewhere, actually back it up with something.
The problem with Lost is that the fans had guessed what it was going to be, and then they said that it wasn't that, and it was never going to be that. And then they kind of went, it kind of is, but just here's a weird bastard.
Well, as we know with stuff, you can't win, can you? Because there'll always be somebody else who's got a different idea.
What would you uncancel? What do you
uncancel? I don't. Well, it's not about uncancelling, is it? I guess what you mean is what you'd like to extend,
complete,
maybe,
or extend, or bring back,
change the ending.
Uncancel. That's what I said.
Uncancel. I can't think of anything that's been cancelled that I've gone, oh no. I really can't.
For me, it was Deadwood, but they did a movie to kind of bring it all around together. So that kind of, it was just a shame that it'd been left so long because some of the cast had died.
The stuff I've watched has always, the stuff I like has always seemed to come to an end where they've gone, oh, we won't do it anymore anyway. Like Quantum Leap, they weren't going to do anymore. I think
I changed my mind because I realised I gave the wrong answer. Lost finished. That's not what I meant.
It did. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I mean. Perfect example for me of something that needs to finish. Daredevil. Netflix's Daredevil. Marvel's Daredevil.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't finish it. They cancelled it. I thought there were loads more.
3 seasons? Was there 3 seasons of it?
Don't get me wrong, there were some patchy moments where it slowed down a bit, but on the whole, I felt like it was actually going to go somewhere and it had a bit of longevity. And I think it was more in the writing where they lost.
Do you know they did a series, a remake of the Fugitive. They did one series, it got cancelled, and apparently they never tied up the ending, so they're still on the run.
Forever.
Yeah. But
did Heroes ever finish? I mean,
No.
it finished obviously, but
I don't think they finished it properly. Again, with that one, I lost that around about season 2.
The writer's strike.
Yeah, and it just went completely to shit from being absolutely brilliant. And again, having a really clear storyline.
Direction.
Direction. To just piss poor. It wasn't even worth it watching it for Hero, who was amazing.
Loved him.
We've got some comments. We'll have a look at them, obviously.
Wayne, the YouTube series that's on Amazon
Was that being
Prime.
cancelled?
I don't. Okay, I've commented about Wayne a couple of times with people on Twitter when people ask for recommendations, and each time I've done it, the producer of Wayne, and I think he did Zombieland and the sequel to that, Zombieland 2, or Zombielanded, Landerer. Double tap. He always likes that tweet when I send it out. So I'm kind of thinking, if all he's doing on Twitter is sitting around looking, sort of searching for people writing nice things about Wayne, I'm guessing that Wayne isn't coming back, and he'd really like it too.
Yeah, I think you might be right, but also I feel like that ended quite well. It was rounded off nicely, and as much as I want a second show, you're then in that territory of, oh my god, but they could fuck it up from here on in.
Glow,
just as good.
Glow, because it was a victim of the pandemic, and it's not coming back because of that. It was getting to a really, and it was such a brilliant vehicle for some awesome female actresses. Mark Maron's brilliant in it. I'm not particularly a fan of his, but he's brilliant in it, and it was left at a real. It was left at a real cliffhanger. Yeah, I'm not keen on his podcast.
No, I like him as an actor.
Wasn't that the first thing he did, Glow?
Yeah, but he's been in a couple of things since then, and he's quite good. Who was he? He was in something, and he played their manager. Oh, I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, he's all right as an actor, but as a person, yeah, I'm a bit like he's part of that oversaturated, privileged white guy with a mouthpiece, with a platform for seeing his opinion, and it's not really.
But that is a series I'd love to come back.
We've got a few people in the comments saying about stuff that uncancelled got popped up, bro. Ideal with Johnny Vegas.
Ideal was brilliant. That was an awesome series. God, I forgot all about that.
I'm guessing as well to be one or two people out there.
Big T, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing this week?
Heroes Reborn was good.
Yes, Heroes Reborn was good.
Yeah, they started remaking it, didn't they? He was in the Joker. Was Mark Maron? Sorry, he was in Joker.
Brookside. Hi, Daniel. How you doing, man?
Uncancelled Brookside and the controversial one. I was also bringing up Mortal Kombat Conquest TV series 100 times better than movies. Ended up with the bad guys winning, all the heroes dead. Spoilers.
Ooh.
Yeah. All those pesky kids playing video games.
I know. They are the scourge of society, aren't they? So what about your...
Sorry, I did divert us there.
No. Zombieland. Sorry, Martin. No, Zombieland the films. The guy who produced Wayne was the producer on both the Zombieland films and something else as well, but I can't remember. There's something along the same lines. Deadpool. It was Deadpool. Yeah.
It was Deadpool because when you're watching Wayne, you're thinking, "Why is this so fucking awesome? What's so good?" If you haven't seen Wayne, guys, go check it out. It's fantastic. Great show.
Probably already got to check it out after how long that took.
Yeah, maybe. I was expecting somebody at least to say Firefly because I know that's a big sticking point for a lot of people.
Somebody did say Firefly. Here we
go. Firefly. Yeah. They never rounded it off. Again, they tried a movie with it, didn't they? They did a movie called Serendipity, which is actually really quite a good little sci-fi movie. Yeah. But yeah, I felt like that
it would have been interesting seeing a season of Gotham with him back as Batman. But I guess they're going into waters where they never really want to go. Where they never intended to go there.
As well, when you look at the fact that the Batman, the new film, is meant to be based around year one, which is where Gotham leaves off pretty much. The first year, the first time he's got his suit.
Yeah.
Establishing himself as Batman and making people fear him for that first year. Yeah, man. Yeah, okay.
So what was are we going to the comments about cancelled shows? Or
no, that's it for now.
Okay, so what about your worst?
Hang on.
Oh, go on.
Oh, that's a question.
That's a question.
Hang on. This is something about Lego. Hang on, one sec. Webby, check out the Brick Dinos exhibition. Dinosaurs built from Lego bricks. Going on display in Norwich, which is showing a lot of prehistoric creatures.
Nice.
Cool.
Which actually, we forgot to mention, there was a little bit of news, wasn't there, with this. The Lego Seinfeld apartments.
Awesome.
Just grab the image then for it. There you go.
It's the one that won the ideas thing this year.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you going to pick it up, Webb, or not?
Seinfeld. I've got things in front of that on my list if I were to pick some more Lego up.
All right.
Yeah, I want the Daily Bugle for the kid, but I'm thinking about that Friends set as well, which is pretty cool.
What, the apartments?
I saw it in the Lego shop the other day. Robin went to spend some birthday money on some Lego, but he didn't want any like superhero or Batman or anything like that. He just wanted like some police cars and things like that, some Lego City stuff, just so he can play a bit more, because right now he's got nowhere to put the bloody bad guys. There's no jail, so we can build a jail and stuff and lock them up. And there were loads of the new stuff in there, and the Friends display. The Friends was on display. It looks really cool.
Cool.
They're doing a good job with it.
Nice.
Should we get back to Lummy's worst?
Yeah, Lummy, what's your
we left you hanging.
Worst live TV show?
I went for a kids TV one, really, that fits in the category I think you were after to start with. And for some reason, I've never liked this. All the shows that go with these, right? Are you ready for this?
Go on.
I'm ready.
Right.
Got bags.
So, and Rod Hull and Emu, I've never liked them.
Yes.
Never.
Me neither.
They did a few different shows, didn't they? And I can't remember names. I had a look today and I got bored looking.
See, I always liked Emu, but
hated
Windmill or something.
I hated Rod Hull, but I liked Emu.
I couldn't do with any of them.
Man, see, for me, Rod Hull and Emu's just an excuse for Rob Hull to fucking fill people up on stage.
Right, now it's interesting.
And that's something I've heard about him for the longest time, and I'm just not.
My mate's mum up in Scotland, she took the kids to go and see Rod Hull and Emu on stage, and she got pulled up on stage to be part of the show, and he just kept grabbing her tits with Emu's mouth. And she ended up knocking his hand away and was like, get off me, you dirty bastard. She said on stage.
See you in court,
the audience.
And Rod Hull's like, oh, I'm sorry about him, honk honk. I can't control it. Oh, such a sexist Emu.
I mean, if you ever saw him though with it, like on interviews and that, he always like really violently grabbed the person as well he were attacking, didn't he? It wasn't like, he's having a bit of a peck around you. We're like smack right in the faces, and you're like, what are you doing?
There's something about him that always just seemed like he was a bit of a prick. And I know he couldn't speak ill of the dead. I remember when he died, he fell off his roof, didn't he?
Fixing his TV aerial during the World Cup. Yeah.
You think he took Emu with him and all just went?
That's an old gag. That's an old gag, man. No Emu. Fucking hell. Webb, obvious.
Try to keep Rod Hull topical.
Grot bags as well, though. Grot bags, never liked her. Never liked her.
Fair enough.
Nah.
Fair enough. I think they could have sprung for some green makeup for her hand. Is it just me as her hand completely white, but her face is green?
That's a gold scepter.
That's not just. I'm on about her hand.
Not the.
That's Rod Hull's hand.
Silly self.
Look, even he can't leave a hat alone. He can't leave a hat alone. He's attacking a hat just to go. Yeah, he's a prick.
She's only got that gold stick to prod him away every time he tries to honk her boobs.
Yeah.
She was the smartest person on the set. She thought, I know how to handle this guy. Every time he comes near me, I'm just going to fucking poke him in the eye with this golden stick.
Yeah, I just never liked it. I was like, this is shit. Even as a kid, I thought, what else is on?
I agree. I completely agree. Yeah, never did it for me, mate. Fuck Emu.
He probably did. He probably did.
Eesh.
I mean, Emu has got a vacant look in his eye, look. Maybe he's seen too much. Maybe he's... maybe he's clutching on as a means to escape from his situation.
He's practicing his fucking gag reflex on the top of Grotbags' witch's hat. See how deep we can take this. You filthy beggars, honestly.
Oh dear! How about you, Webby? What is? Thank you, Lummy. What about you, Webby? What is your best live-action kids TV show? Hopefully,
I managed to pick something that's not full of sex pests, but you never know, do you? Back in the day, you know. I picked a little gem called Maid Marian and Her Merry Men. Now, talk about flipping the script of fucking feminism, man. You know what I mean? Way ahead of its time. Yeah. Let's make Maid Marian the hero. Everybody else is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's great.
Brilliant theme tune. Amazing theme tune as well.
This is one of them that I would have picked as well, Webb, with you.
Yeah,
a lot of things that are on.
I haven't done this yet, but I feel like if I were to rewatch it, it probably would still be pretty good.
It's in that horrible histories sort of vein, isn't it? It's
a little bit Monty Python, a little bit. You've got a little bit like, I think because Tony Robbins is in it, there's a connection to like things like Blackadder. And Danny John Jules from Red Dwarf, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really. You're right. It's a great series. Though it used to be, and four series of it, I think.
And do you remember? You can see Robin Hood there, can't you? At the end. Remember how annoying he was, and how pompous, and they really nailed it. That sort of useless, getting all the glory character.
Yeah, it was good. It was good fun.
Yeah.
No, it was brilliant. That was really enjoyed it. It's I think it is something that would totally stand up as well. I'm sure. I think the episodes are all on YouTube. Yeah,
I might check one or two out. See if
look who's decided to show.
Smeagol.
Hey, Smeets, how you doing, my love? We've been talking about you. Were your ears burning?
Does anybody else wish that her profile picture could just talk? Just talk to us. You know what I mean? I want to make a mouth.
Nat, what is your...
Somebody must have rung her.
Nat, what is your best and worst live-action kids TV show, Nat? Webby's done Maid Marian and Her Merry Men as his best. What's your worst, Webby?
Hang on, one stop. Right. Popping up rocks. Last place I lived, some donut left the Maid Marian complete collection DVD with free comic book in the free cycle area.
Have you still got them? Pop Not Broth, have you still got them?
That's a right score. Well
done. That is a result.
Now, as usual, guys, I didn't do any research. Can't tell you how many series it ran for, or how many episodes there were, or even what year it came out. I just remember it was one of them that you had to make sure you'd come in from playing out to watch that one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you missed it, you were a bit pissed off. Because back in the day, before you could just go watch it on iPlayer and catch up and all that, you had to actually put some effort in and go buy a video and then leave it at somebody's house for somebody to pick up.
And I was always really into things like Robin Hood and Musketeers and all those sorts of adventure-y fighting in woods and things like that. So when this came along, I was like, this show is made for me. It's brilliant. It's such a really clever, funny show. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
so what was your worst one? Come on.
I just learned something about it right now. I'm learning as we go. So it ran for 4 series, 1989 to 1995. And there were only, believe it or not, in total, 26 episodes of this.
Yeah.
Over 4
that doesn't
series.
surprise me.
Yeah, we don't do that American thing, do we? Where we just keep writing stuff for the sake of it. 6 episodes and you're done. That's a series.
Yeah.
But that makes it achievable when you want to binge something. It makes you able to watch a series. I remember once when I first gave Peep Show a go, and a friend of mine had like the first 5 series. All that was out at the time was the first 5 series. And I managed to watch them all in a weekend because there's just 6 episodes per, you know what I mean? It's good. You feel like you're blasting through it.
No, absolutely. And what about your worst one, Webby? What was
my worst one. So my worst one I thought was Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but it's not. The actress from Sabrina the Teenage Witch did a show that was on Going Live and stuff. Just as I guess I was a little bit too old to enjoy it. My little sister used to watch it. And it was called Clarissa Knows It All, or Clarissa
Explains It All. Explains It All. Yeah.
And fuck me, what an obnoxious little shit. That's all I can remember is that fuck you, 12-year-old American trying to tell me how to live your life. You don't know anything. What are you going to explain to me, dickhead?
Melissa Joan Hart, innit?
I know, that's why I got confused, because she went on to do Sabrina, and I remember that being on because we got Nickelodeon and my little sister used to watch that. And that used to annoy me, but nowhere near as much as Clarissa fucking Knows It All, explains it all, know it all, bitch. So yeah, I hate it because of that.
Wow.
It literally could be the best show ever.
There was a wave of sort of. It was around the same time as things like Kenan and Kel and
Dougie Hauser, MD.
No, it was after that.
Boy Meets World.
Yeah, there was one with the two twins as well. Sister. It was around all those. Well. It was around.
Do you guys remember a show called Erie, Indiana?
Yes, loved Erie, Indiana.
Yeah, I just remembered it then. I might have picked that. I used to like that.
Erie, Indiana was stuck. In fact, that is a show that they kind of. It was like the X-Files for kids, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They need to bring a version of that back. It was like Stranger Things.
That is one that was. I think it was cancelled. I can't remember if it ended properly or not, but they could have gone on with it. That was fucking brilliant. That show. Brilliant.
Yeah,
they've done. Awesome I don't know if you guys have seen Gravity Falls.
I've got my answer for you. The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles got cancelled, right? And they had plans to do another series where it linked into the films where you started meeting Belloc and everybody. That's the one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll be up for that. We should make it.
Yeah, I'm changing my answer to Erie, Indiana, because that's a fucking great show.
I just remember then. I don't know why.
Absolutely loved it.
Brilliant. It was absolutely
you never knew whether you were going to get something that was insane, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or something that was a bit scary. Like, actually had a bit of fucking fear to it. Yeah, it was great.
I'd like to watch some of them again to see if it stands up.
There's a few things that we've talked about tonight that I genuinely think I am going to go and watch.
Grot bags.
Not grot bags. Not grot bags.
I'm going to go watch a load of Rod Hull videos attacking people. Put it towards a medley of him.
Yeah, he died just before the lawsuits started coming through as well.
Yeah, that's true.
He did a saddle on us, didn't he?
Yeah.
I better get out. I better check out before they all come to get me.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. And so I feel like your best suggestions have absolutely wiped the floor with my best one. I feel like my best live action team. Well, first of all, there's an honourable mention on mine, and it's for Round the Twist. An absolutely awesome, brilliant theme tune. We used to play that.
I like to play it. Yeah, it's brilliant. To get a bit drunk and play it. Yeah, for ages. Ages. And
every
time you play it, then you just go back into it.
Carry on.
Pop Not Brock's Broth earlier put that. So
yeah. Come again another day.
Awesome stuff, man.
Yeah. So there's an honorable mention, and I feel like maybe I should have gone for that. Or Erie, Indiana. But
hang on, Rich, hang on. Before you jump to that, can we just mention the other honourable mention that I know you used to watch, and it was Australian? Pugwall. Do you remember Pugwall?
Pugwall Summer. I mean, but it wouldn't. That I did not enjoy Pugwall. I hated
tonight
it
because I'm sure we've talked about Sabrina and Sister before.
No,
maybe. We do repeat ourselves.
I don't think we have talked about Sister before. So, no, I did not like Pugwall Summer.
I used to love it. I think it's because
it was weird though, because it was actually quite trippy. Like his sister Marmalloid. And she had that weird song, Mama Lloyd.
Yeah.
Call me that. So no, not Pugwall Summer. There was a. If I'm being really true to myself, there was a period of my life when I was sort of trying to find out who I was and trying to fit in, where there was a load of American TV shows that seemed like they were built for me. There was Parker Lewis Explains It All, or something like that. Parker Lewis Can't Lose, and then there was Heartbreak High and California Dreams, but actually my best I'm going to go for is Saved by the Bell, because I used to love that show when I was a kid. I loved that show. I'm going to be honest, I could be cool and all retro, Indiana, but nah, it was Saved by the Bell.
We know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you were. When we met you, you fucking were Zach Morris, man. Yeah. You were him.
Always getting myself into trouble.
Bit of sunning in the hair.
Always murdering people, hiding the bodies in cars.
What are you talking about?
Man, that's another one that poor people that were in it have not really managed to.
No, I know. Yeah.
Apart from I think Mario Lopez is still doing okay.
Yeah, Mario Lopez has done all right, hasn't
he? He's doing lots of hosting stuff. Yeah, Screech.
Elizabeth Bergman is dead.
He died.
He died a couple of weeks ago, but people thought he were going to die years before that.
He did Big Brother, didn't he? Celebrity Big Brother over here.
Hang on, did you say Elizabeth
Berkley?
She died.
No, she went on to do some films after.
She did
Showgirls.
Fuck me, the plot. Yeah. Oh my god, I've got
Striptease was the Demi Moore one. That's right.
Yeah, I've got to sit down with Joanna and watch Showgirls just as an exercise because
apparently
it's so fucking bad. It's delicious.
Right. Good. Apparently, I don't know if this is true, but you can get the DVD. I read a thing once. It said this: if you get the DVD with the commentary track on it, it's basically the producer of the film ripping the piss out of the film all the way through it.
Really? Oh wow!
Just laughing his head off all the way through it, going, "This is terrible."
I remember reading an article about Leonardo allegedly. I mean, I definitely read an article, but allegedly, Leonardo DiCaprio and his mates kicked the shit out of Elizabeth Berkley's boyfriend because Leonardo DiCaprio really fancied her and wanted to be with her.
Really?
I read it in the press, but I'm gonna plaster this section with a big old allegedly. Don't come after us, Lee Caps, because
yeah. Mr. Belding as well.
Mr. Belding, yeah.
You were all right. You were all right.
AC Slater.
Yeah.
Kelly.
Who's that on the left? Who's that?
I have no idea.
I don't know who that is. They're all the main cast apart from.
Yeah.
Like, who's she?
I don't.
That's the girl with the curly hair.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
When I was a kid, know in the comments who that is?
I had a massive crush on Kelly.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
When I was a kid.
Tiffany Amber Decent, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you'll be pleased to know I've just found the Showgirls quotes website because, oh my God, there's some pearls in this fucking movie. It's absolutely, oh my God. I can't believe. I'm going to have to watch this movie.
What's this?
It exists.
Do you remember the Queen's Nose?
Yes, I do remember the Queen's Nose.
Heartbreak. Like a girl who had a magic 50p piece, and she used to have to rub the nose to make a wish.
Yeah,
it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I do remember the Queen's Nose. There was some awesome TV shows. I was also going to put a mention out for Teabag, and T-shirt. Where it was the hunt for the silver spoons, run for a load of series, and there was a boy, Thomas Shirt, and there was a witch Teabag. And he was like her butler slave sort of thing, and kind of got so long into the run of series that the kid like was taller than she was, so they replaced him with a Chinese boy, and they changed the name of the character. For it's a silk t-shirt, but they called the character, and I only found this out today. They called the character Tao Ling, as in Tao Ling. It was just bad. It's just really bad.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I was kind of like, maybe not good for that. My worst though.
Sorry, I've got another one that's just popped in my head as something that was fucking awful at the time. I thought was amazing. Whizbit with Paul Daniels.
Oh yeah,
Whizbit. I loved Whizbit. I loved Whizbit. It was brilliant. Yeah, and again, the theme tune was awesome to Whizbit.
That's the way.
That away. Okay, my worst is going to be the Teletubbies. Just not a show I could get into at all. Okay, look, I mean, admittedly,
we're not too old for this, though.
I was about 17 when the Teletubbies came out.
I was 25 when this came out. I just couldn't get into it. Unrealistic.
Yeah, and you were right in the target market for the show.
Exactly, I totally was.
Unbelievable.
No, I just could. It was just everywhere you went was like hearing people to go oh, and think it was just a really frustrating show. I think the reason I hate it so much is because it was people our age that were really into it.
Yeah,
they were like, oh, it's really trippy, and it's just
smoking weed, watching it.
It's just a piece of shit. But I was going to mention maybe the Moomins as well, but that's more sort of the early version of that was.
Have I told you when I went to Sweden with college? Obviously, you guys stayed at home. We watched the Moomins live on stage.
Yes, we saw. You showed us a video. You videoed some of it.
It was terrible.
You brought it back and showed. You made a film about your Sweden trip, and you showed.
They were massive over there. They loved it. They were all like Moomin mad.
Oh,
I watched a documentary about the lady that made the Moomins, and she ended up moving to an island in Sweden, and she was a recluse. She was like, just like
did she hire people to dress up as Moomins on the island?
Pretty much, yeah.
I can't remember. It's either Sweden or Norway. They call mozzarella Moomin meat.
That's fucking disturbing as hell.
But it's kind of, it makes sense though, right?
Yeah.
You got the mozzarella. It's like, you know, you got a slab of
about
meat on you.
marshmallows as well, I guess.
True. Well, I could tell you about my recent trip to the doctors if you want, Mike.
No, not again. I only found out yesterday. Dustin Down plays Scooch said, "Well, John, yeah,
I did. Yeah.
He had a few problems, didn't he?
Yeah, man. He made a porno, didn't he? He did. Screech made a porno.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called. It was something really classy, like Saved by the Bell End or something like that.
Really?
Teletubbies had an episode banned for being too frightening. The one where the lion chase probably killed the bear. I hated that show.
Wow, I was not aware of that.
Those who created the show should face serious jail time.
Man.
Hey, come on, Gemma. It's a classy show, this.
But now, Teletubbies, just
totally different kind of an extension of the same subject. But we should do one about shows that inexplicably fucking terrified you when you were a kid. The Moomins and things like that, yeah. But I tell you what used to get me.
And Finger Mouse as well. There's something fucking... And Bagpuss.
There was Bagpuss with that crazy clock. What? Not clock. Like a clockwork woodpecker used to terrify me for some reason. But the one I was thinking of was...
yes, love Desmond's. Absolutely love Desmond's.
The one that used to terrify me inexplicably was Will-o'-the-Wisp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I just I couldn't understand it. I didn't. Yeah, it was too young.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely get that. There was something, but if you look at a lot of the go online, look at some of the old artwork for the Moomins. It's creepy as fuck. It's all that very much, you know. Do you remember that sort of poem or story when you were in the dark wood? There was a dark house, and the dark house was a dark room, and the dark room. There's all that. It's all kind of.
Wasn't that a skeleton thing? Skeleton family.
What, Funny Bones. Janet and Alan. Get spot the guy who's got a 4-year-old. Janet and Alan Alberg. They wrote some.
How old is that?
Fucking.
That's got to be like 40 years.
40 years, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's insane. So, have we got any more comments on me?
Was it Finger Bob with that weird pedo-looking guy in?
Finger Mouth.
Yeah.
Finger Bob. There was something called Finger Bob though, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. And he was a weird-looking pedo guy. And also, there was a music program.
Yes, there was.
And that had a really scary presenter. He just looked like he was looking into your soul. Yeah,
I'm gonna Google Finger Bob and see what that was. Oh my god!
Suddenly Lummy's search history now needs absolutely obliterating.
I'm gonna get you this picture of this guy from Finger Bob. You'll be like, what?
Oh my
god! Hang on, talk amongst yourselves. Tell me why.
Do you remember the TV show? I can't remember the name. The magician and comedian, Paul Zenon.
Paul Zenon.
Paul Zenon used to do a kids' TV show that was set in a magic shop.
Oh, I don't know.
And he was in. Jossie's Giants.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Now, Jossie used to stay at our hotel, Lummy. My mum and dad used to own a hotel, and they used to film there and things. They used to like film TV shows and stuff.
Where's his Finger Bob's picture? I want to be creeped out.
And the guy from Jossie's Giants used to stay at the hotel, and he took me to like filming things at YTV and stuff.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what Jossie's Giants.
It was about a kids football team set in Newcastle.
Yeah, it was really good.
Right. It was awesome. And there was another one that was filmed in Blackpool, and it was about a hotel.
Oh shit! What was the name of the kid?
Sea View. It was called. Because my mum and dad, Johnny Briggs, I love Johnny Briggs.
And there was Gruey. Gruey.
No, I remember Gruey. Gruey was brilliant.
Johnny Briggs was the one where they had the last in the class, wasn't they? And she used to go.
Yeah.
Right, you ready for Finger Bobs?
Yeah, man, I'm ready.
Prepare yourselves.
Oi.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, that's not the same creepy dude I was thinking of. But
I took the wrong moment to take a big drink of my.
I mean, he's looking at those puppets in an odd way, if you ask me. But Jossie's Giants, there you go.
Ah, brilliant. Brilliant. Love Jossie's Giants. And Seaview, I remember Gruey. And also, the Demon Headmaster. The Demon Headmaster was fucking brilliant and terrifying as well.
We've got loads coming in here. Look,
Rent a Ghost. Brilliant. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music program Rapido. It was.
Just giggle amongst yourselves, folks. Any other comments on me?
That's it for now, I think.
Okay, so ladies and gents, we decided that we were going to have a retrospective look back at the career of a Mr. Quentin Tarantino, and we're going to have a look about some of the films, the projects he's been involved in, some of the scripts he wrote. I mean, he certainly revolutionized gangster films. I mean, it became his own subsection of cinema himself, you know, with the gangster films that he put together. You know, he's got a pretty checkered career, accused of plagiarism, big, long-standing argument with Oliver Stone. You know, it's quite a controversial character, but what do we think of his films, gents? What do we think about Quentin Tarantino?
Well, first of all,
I kind of, at best, think he has moments of genius, and at worst, think he's a lazy, opinionated wanker. That's pretty much it. Especially in his later years, he seems to have settled into that too late for me to be woke kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? I am who I am. And
do you know it's funny though, because he recently did an interview where he talks about the Harvey Weinstein situation at Miramax. Because obviously Weinstein's like a father figure. In fact, he actually says he was like a fucked up father figure. But you know, most people's fathers are a bit fucked up. And he said that's one thing he really wishes. No, but that's the thing he said. But that's the thing he said. He really wished. He said he'd heard sort of rumors and stories, but nothing, you know. But he'd seen some what he just thought was old-fashioned lechy behavior. And Kevin Smith said the same thing, you know, and other people have. That he said anyone who says that they didn't see that is bullshitting. Everyone saw it. Everyone saw his lechy producer trying to sleep with the actresses kind of behavior, and we've all seen it on other things as well, but he had no idea to the extent that it went, you know, and he said that is his huge regret, that he never ever stood up to him, because he stood up to Harvey Weinstein about a lot of things, but normally creatively about his films, you know, the torture scene in Reservoir Dogs, for example. Weinstein didn't want that in the film at all. He said it was going to affect the box office take of the film and the rating and all that. And he said, yeah, in hindsight, he wished he had sort of conceded a little bit to that. So, yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's not work, but I mean, you know, I've seen him shut down questions from interviewers before when they've asked inappropriate questions of his leading actresses as well. I just think
I've seen him be really, really pissy in an interview. Not for much reason. Have you seen that one where he fucking walks out?
Is that the one with Krishnan Guru Murphy?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Straight away, he's like, "What is your fucking agenda, dude?" And he just
talk about violence and how it affects kids and things like that, you know. And but that is a real bugbear of his. I mean, he does. That is his trigger, isn't it? It's his trigger.
But he's not making fucking.
But it's because
he's not making popcorn movies, is he? He's making cinema, and he wants it to challenge you. And those moments of violence, particularly noticeable in things like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where the film is pretty sanguine all the way through, and then
at the end,
it's burst of fucking horrendous violence and against women as well. And it's really odd. It sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. It felt needed and justified for me in that film. But going back to the fact that I think there's a trigger point for him, is because so he was I can't remember his mum's name, but his dad was called Tony Tarantino. He was a musician and an actor who left the household before Tarantino was born. His mum was an avid movie fan. She just loved TV. She loved films, and as a kid, he was going to see things like Midnight Express and like horror films and things like that with his mum. You know, as a little kid, you know, and at 15 he was writing his own remakes of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and Smokey and the Bandit and things like that, with loads of violence in them. And so I'm wondering if that is why it's a trigger point for him, because as a kid he was exposed to some pretty graphic films for the age that he was.
But yeah, I mean, but they're important moments in cinema, aren't they? And that's what I think he wanted to do. So I think he earned his stripes in the beginning. You got to remember that after Pulp Fiction came out, he had so many hot scripts in Hollywood that people fucking chomping the bit to get
that was after Reservoir Dogs. It was
completely, but they were so close together that people were so impressed with Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction that he laments giving some of his best ideas away. He always, from what I've read, always wondered what his versions of those movies he gave away were. We're mainly talking about True Romance and Natural Born Killers. Which one of them went to Tony Scott, Ridley Scott's brother, True Romance, and has got a fucking amazing cast. And Natural Born Killers was Oliver Stone, and that's where they sort of didn't see eye to eye. Now, for me, I've read the book of Natural Born Killers.
Yeah. What the about the making of the problems behind the film?
I've read the novelization of it. Okay. I think he wrote it. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. My brother used to have it. And the way Oliver Stone treated that film was he basically made it into an Oliver Stone film. People always seem to think that there was a lot more to it from Tarantino. There isn't. The story's exactly the fucking same. Exactly the same. There's a couple of things that happen in the book that are way more different and way more visceral. They took some of the nasty shit out. But personally speaking, I thought both those directors did a fairly decent job with a pretty cool script. True Romance is fucking great.
Tarantino's issue was that he had promised the rights to... Okay, so Reservoir Dogs comes out, huge acclaim at Sundance Film Festival, and suddenly his agent, who has been trying to push scripts on people, including True Romance and Natural Born Killers, got this back catalogue of scripts that nobody wants to see, and suddenly all these people she's been trying to plug them to all going, has this kid got any more scripts? That's amazing. And he had promised the filming rights to Natural Born Killers to a friend of his who was really struggling to get the money together to do it, and for years have been trying to find the finance to put the film together. Whereas, Oliver Stone and those guys came along, picked it up, and were able to run with it straight away. But Oliver Stone was like hitting loads of barbed comments, like that Tarantino only writes, it's a film full of extra characters, just extras. You only write extras. You don't write any main characters, and you change a lot of the dialogue and things like that. So there ended up being this back and forth, very public back and forth spat between them. And in the end, it just ended up with Tarantino being like, don't want my name anywhere near that film. Just do what you want with it. I'm done with it. And they offered him a percentage where he ended up getting $500,000, I think, from Natural Born Killers in the end, which Oliver Stone then went, if you don't want anything to do with the film, but you're happy to take some money from it, you're a fucking hypocrite. So that started the whole thing again. Meanwhile, a book was made, a sort of biography sort of thing about the making of that film and about this spat. And there were loads of quotes in the book from Don Murphy, who was one of the producers on Natural Born Killers, just loads of really open quotes about Tarantino. And rather than suing Don Murphy over these quotes, Tarantino found him, hunting him down in a restaurant and kicked the shit out of him. And rather than pressing charges or settling out of court or anything like that, again, Harvey Weinstein came along and sort of
raped everybody. You can't stop fighting, you're getting a raping. You sort this out or I'll just... Allegedly. Allegedly.
Not allegedly.
Martin said I love his character Dust Till Dawn.
That's another one
which he got absolutely pandered for. He got absolutely slated for in the press.
People hate Tarantino acting. They hated him in Pulp Fiction. They hated him in the fucking Dust Till Dawn.
Yeah.
There's a couple of others where he
one of the most iconic
Mr. Brown in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
I don't mind him as an actor. I feel like he spent that much time working with his dialogue that he really knows how he wants people to say it. So when he does it, he can perform it. That whole bit in the where they go to his house with the body in the car in Pulp Fiction, and Samuel L. Jackson trying to butter him up, going, "Wow, goddamn, this is a this is a nice cup of coffee. And it's like, I know how fucking nice my coffee is. Okay, I buy the shit. I don't, you know what I mean? And he does that whole bit, and it's quite believable because he wrote it, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a shit actor. However, I don't necessarily believe it needs to be in any of those films.
Well, he started out trying to be. Sorry, Lumb, you were about to say something.
I was going to say the worst one I've seen in him was he's in Django, isn't he, at the end?
Django Unchained, yeah.
And he does
I've only seen that once.
He does an accent. He does I don't know if it's a Scottish accent or something.
Oh, really?
I think so. I might be wrong. Let me know in the comments if you can remember this. But I've only seen it once. I just remember that at the end going.
Well, he actually started off. So he started off trying to be an actor. He tried to get into the movie industry. He's got no training or anything like that. He managed to get a job as an usher and a ticket seller at a porn theater, an adult theater, and then managed to get a job in like a video rental store where all these geeks would come in, all these movie geeks would come in and want to talk about films. And he just ended up meeting all these cool people there who ended up going. Sort of suggested him to other people. He enrolled in an acting class. All the money he earned went to this acting class that he was doing on a night time. So he got a few little acting roles. One of them is as an Elvis impersonator in the Golden Girls, which made it to a Golden Girls special, which is repeated quite often in America, and he still receives royalties from that.
Wow!
But the royalties from that part actually were helping him, you know, be a writer and all these things. And then he got to a Hollywood party where they said he met God, I can't remember the guy's name, Lawrence someone.
His producer. What's he called?
I can't remember his name though. He said, you should be a writer, you should go and write some stuff. So he went and wrote Reservoir Dogs, and at the point he was just going to go make the film, and somebody, I think it was him, was saying to him, no, wait, let's get the financing for it first. We can get some financing. He was like, no, let's just go make it. And he ended up taking the script to his producer, took the script to his acting teacher, and said, what do you think of this script? And the guy was like, it's amazing. Ideally, who would you guys cast as the lead in it? And he said, oh, probably, Harvey Keitel. And little did they know, this guy's wife was friends with Harvey Keitel's wife. Uh-huh. And that's how he got shown the script. He fucking loved the script, was on it straight away. And he was like, look, I will help you guys get the funding for this. So I think it was made for like $1.5 million, Reservoir Dogs. And it took like 10 million in the box office. Bearing in mind, it was only shown in 20 cinemas in the US on opening weekend and 10 in the UK, where it took 800,000.
I think we're looking at a director, right, that started off as hot shit in Hollywood and got free reign to do whatever he wanted for the next 30 years.
He came out of nowhere. Yeah, he came out of nowhere.
Got you the picture of the Golden Girls, by the way.
Go on then.
He's at the back there. At the back.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can see him. Yeah.
Actually, he after Jackie Brown, he had a huge slump and a massive crisis of confidence, and he ended up going. Go on.
That's a divisive film, isn't it? It's got a strong cast and an incredibly weak script. It doesn't work. The film doesn't work. It's odd. Well, there's moments of genius in it, but it's not as frequent as Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction.
As with a lot of his other things, where people talk about his plagiarism, and he talks about quite openly about it. It's like, I don't do homages to stuff. I steal from stuff. Every creative person does. So there's a Chinese film which is basically Reservoir Dogs, but without the awesome dialogue. But when you look at a lot of the structures of it, there's the same betrayal, the same diamond heist going wrong, the same undercover police officer working with the gang, the same showdown at the end, exactly the same scene.
He's just tapping into the same vein that every other director taps into.
And that's
basically your big directors, Kurosawa and fucking Sergio Leone and
definitely Sergio Leone.
And George Lucas did exactly the same thing. Star Wars is Seven Samurai, right?
Yeah,
rewritten. That's what Pulp Fiction is. That's what Reservoir Dogs is as well. It's the same, weirdly enough, based on the same sorts of films. Hidden Fortress, sorry, not Seven Samurai.
Yeah, no, Magnificent Seven is the Seven Samurai.
Yeah. So he repurposes things for his own use. But at one point, those things used to be pretty much original stories told in the real world. What he tends to do nowadays that I find divisive about him is rewrite portions of history that he doesn't agree with. He wants to sort out, this is how the world would be in my world, you know what I mean?
Like
so, for
in
example,
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah. Django Unchained is massive. Look at Django Unchained. You're talking about fucking cowboy times with the black bounty hunter. That just never would have happened in those times.
Jackie Brown, he changed the race of the character as well.
Yeah,
but that, in the book, it's a white.
The homage you're talking about in Jackie Brown is that whole blaxploitation 70s era, Shaft, and what's she called? Pam Grier as whatever she was called.
Jackie
All those,
Brown.
yeah.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think about this?
She was Foxy Brown in
Foxy
the
Brown.
70s.
Yeah, sorry, yes.
So it's taken leaves out of those. The soundtracks, believe it or not, the soundtrack for Jackie Brown is taken from those blaxploitation
films. Yeah.
So, yeah. Sorry, go on.
Well, I was just about to say all these soundtracks are taken from other movies. There's no original music in this stuff. It's all even score music is used from other films because he says there's so much music out there.
Soundtracks are incredible.
Yeah,
they are incredible.
In a few movies, that theme that you used to watch in the cinema in the 70s, that it was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
It was, it was,
and it's all over the place in Kill Bill.
So what do you make of all this rewriting history in his films then? So like you just mentioned there, I mean, that's a good example in it of, the Hitler stuff in that where he...
Yeah, that's a great example.
I don't have a problem with it in Inglourious Basterds, but it's more, I think it's more distasteful maybe in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I think,
just because it's a lot...
Three in order, I think the most distasteful one is Django Unchained. Because not only is the character
seen Django Unchained, so
completely unbelievable because of the time it's set in. I appreciate what he's trying to do, but I just can't get around that. Not only that, you've got a few other things. The frequent use of the word N-word all the time. They've got
Spike Lee took particular issue with him over.
It's got a particular. The soundtrack to that is all done with modern hip hop, and for me, it just didn't work. I get what he's trying to do. But it just didn't work. And then interspersed in that, you've got all these weird, crazy characters and the ultra violence and everything. It's not my. I've only seen that one once. I might have to give it another go. To be fair,
I haven't seen it.
Each of his movies is like that. It's got that moment in it where you're like, "Wow, okay, he's going to be disgusting now. Something horrible is going to happen." And do you remember when we went to see Death Proof in Cannes, Lummy?
Yeah.
Death Proof takes a massive fucking hit on the chin all the time. People don't understand that movie. The idea behind that movie was Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino got together and they wanted to make a double feature like they used to watch in the 70s when they were kids, when you could go to the movies for fucking 50 cents and watch two pretty shit movies. And the point being, these movies were such bad quality that there were missing reels in the movies. They jumped from scene to scene with no explanation. You could see marks on the print. And he put all of that into Death Proof as an homage to the 70s. And everybody went, fucking hell, this is shit.
Yeah.
Because there are scenes in it where it cuts out.
We saw the premiere, didn't we, in Cannes for that?
Yeah, we did. I really liked it, man. Because I knew what I was getting into beforehand and I was forewarned that it was a bit weird and a bit different. I really like it. I love that. I love Stuntman Mike as a character. I think he's fucking evil as hell. I like the fact that it's a really strong female cast, and spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, they're the ones who sort Stuntman Mike out. They just kick the fuck out of him. Yeah. They kick the fuck out of this psycho that's been chasing him in a badass stunt car through the whole movie. But the violence bit in that gets you every time is the bit where she's in the car and her leg's hanging out and he crashes into them and a fucking leg flies off. Do you remember that? Yeah, so
we've jumped forward quite a lot. So after Jackie Brown, he had he just got slated by the critics, couldn't deal with it, and he went to LA, and I think it was he went to Texas, where he just started showing like a movie club effectively, where he'd just show movies and he'd get other filmmakers and unknown filmmakers. And it was a way for him to be able to showcase other filmmakers. And he'd get up and he'd talk about, historic films and give a bit of commentary and things like that. And he did that for a little while. And then he thought, right, okay, I'm going to give acting a shot. My first love is acting. I'm kind of done with this for a bit. I've been criticized so much. I'm going to go. And he went and did some theater and on Broadway. And he did a play. The opening night got a standing ovation. And then the next day, the theatre critics just fucking hammered him, and they were relentless about him for the whole run of the show, despite the audience being filled full of Tarantino fans who were giving standing ovations. And it just broke him. It absolutely broke. Sorry, that was before he started the movie club in Texas. It absolutely broke him. He did the minimum amount of days that he was supposed to do on the show and then quit. Then he went to do the movie club in Texas, and then he got a part in Little Nicky as a preacher, I think in like 2002 maybe. And while he was doing that, he went to a Hollywood party where he bumped into Uma Thurman, and Uma Thurman said, "Hey, when are we going to do this this Kill Bill film that you told me about ages ago?" And suddenly he was like, "Shit, yes." And he went home and he went over the script for this thing, Kill Bill, that he wrote or had started writing. And then he was at Uma Thurman's birthday party and was like, "Right, your present is Kill Bill." And a year later, he had the script made, obviously based on The Bride That Wore Black, is it? I think.
You forgot a film as well. He did a really weird film called Four Rooms, where it's three other directors.
Yeah.
4 separate stories. His is the last story, and it's the best story in the thing. It's all about this game where they've got to try and flick a lighter 10 times in a row. And it builds up the tension to the point where this guy gets his finger chopped off or his hand chopped off.
Based on an Alfred Hitchcock story. His is a retelling of an Alfred Hitchcock story in 4 Rooms. But again, that got absolutely panned as well.
It should do. It's a weird film, man. If you've ever seen it, it's one of the stories has got Madonna in. One of the stories is directed by Robert Rodriguez and was the genesis for the whole Spy Kids thing about 2 parents that are spies and they've got to leave the kids at home in a hotel room. Right, and this is all happening in the same hotel. I can't remember the first story, but it was underwhelming to say the least. The best bit of it was his bit. But just before we go further, there is a massive distinction between Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs, and everything else is done. And that is this. If you read those fucking scripts, they are sharp as knives, man. They're absolutely, you can read them as a script and you can picture it, you can visualize how it's supposed to be performed, you get the feel of it. And none of his other scripts have got that same sort of magic. Some of them come a little bit close. There are parts of Kill Bill that are genius, but there are parts that are absolutely stupid. They're just stupid bits as well. But
wasn't Danny DeVito a producer on Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, because he managed to get him the 8.5 million that it cost to make the film. Which was a real, because he really loved Reservoir. That's the thing, loads of people love Reservoir Dogs and lots of actors. And suddenly, because Keitel was on board Reservoir Dogs, that's how he managed to get, all the other guys in that particular cast. Sam Jackson had auditioned for it, didn't get a job on it, and then auditioned for, what's he called in Pulp Fiction? Vincent Vega and Jules. He auditioned for that, and he did the preacher, the Bible scene. And he just added his own twist and his fear of his own words. And Tarantino was so blown away by that. He was like, "You never have to audition for me ever again."
Yeah, and it's been in pretty much everything ever since.
But he's taken a lot of people along with him along the way. I mean, pretty much the crew from Reservoir Dogs came on to Pulp Fiction as well as a lot of the actors.
Lawrence Bender,
his producer. Friend.
Yeah, Lawrence Bender. Sorry.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're right. And he takes a lot of people with him as well. I mean, he's worked with makeup and special effects people who ended up being like actors in some of his films, playing bit parts and stuff like that. It's
created as well. He's created a little bit of intrigue around certain characters. So. When you learn that Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs is actually Vincent Vega from Pulp Fiction's brother.
Yeah.
And that there was supposed to be a movie that was about the Vega brothers, that was about them opening a nightclub in Amsterdam, which is where Vincent Vega's coming back from in Pulp Fiction. Remember?
Which is where he wrote the film. He had a trip to Amsterdam and spent a couple of weeks writing the film there, which is obviously where he got the mayonnaise stuff and all of that.
But something, I tell you what he has lost, in my opinion, is his natural affinity and his spark for humor. The first 2 films are fucking funny. They might be grossly funny or over the top funny, but there are funny bits in it. The whole bit, what's your opinion on that, Marvin? And he turns around and actually accidentally shoots the guy in the face, but he's not a baby about it. They're actually bantering with each other about the fact they've just blown somebody's fucking head off, and it's quite funny. It's you know, it feels out of place. Like, should I be laughing at this? But yeah, you should. If something's funny, it's funny, isn't it?
I do. I mean, obviously, Tarantino, his USP is dialogue and everyday dialogue and talking about everyday things and making them really fucking interested in drawing. You know, so the whole mayonnaise chat about French fries, you know, in Holland, and he does it throughout the films, you know, where he really sweats it on a tiny detail.
Each film has got those moments of genius in it. In Inglourious Bastards, it's the Christoph Pratt scene where he's talking, where he goes to the farmer's house and there's a fucking
Pratt.
What's he called? Platt.
Christoph Waltz.
Waltz. Chris Pratt. Christoph Waltz. Sorry, yeah. And he does that whole speech about, and that's a great part of that film.
This is what I was going to bring up. Right, Inglourious Bastards for me. That first bit is so good that I don't think the rest of the film is as good as that. I think it loses its way a little bit in the fact that later on that same character who was so ruthless at the start, as we know, is in the scene with Brad Pitt, who's clearly not doing an Italian accent. And it just doesn't work for me. That it's like, hang on, this guy would have sussed him out so quick. He'd be dead.
He does remember.
Yeah, but
he susses him out, but he plays it cool about it.
Yeah, but it don't.
Isn't it because one of them signals the wrong hand signal, and he's like, "Hang on a minute, they won't make that gesture in this country," and he figures it out that the guy's actually.
Yeah, but then why didn't he have them carted off instantly? Like he murders all them people in the start of it. You know, you think. It's just a bit odd.
It's weird, man.
The tone's so different all the way through.
Yeah, apart from that first scene, I feel like the rest of Inglourious Bastards would have made a really good little vignette or a cartoon or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't need over analysis, you know. Yeah. The wishful thinking of Tarantino.
There's two films. Two sequences like that. The other one is when they're in the bar. That's the bit you might be thinking of, where he holds up the wrong fingers count, doesn't he?
Again, because it's not my favorite, I don't commit.
So they're in the bar at the bottom with the French resistance, and there's the German officers coming, don't they? And I think the British officers there disguised as German ones, and he holds up the wrong fingers. Says, "I want 2 drinks," or something. But in Germany, it's like you hold up a different amount of fingers. I don't know, but that's how it figures it out. Well, that's a really good scene as well. Those 2 scenes are so different to the rest of the film. It's very odd, you know. And then they throw Mike Myers in as a British officer,
and it's weird. What the fuck's Austin Powers doing in here? But you've got that sort of troubling things going on in most of his films. For me, the best altogether, all-round Tarantino film post Pulp Fiction, I think it's got to be Hateful Eight for me. It didn't feel too shoehorned. It's all like set in this one cabin.
What is your favorite? What is your favorite Tarantino then? I guess that is the question.
Pulp Fiction, hands down. Yeah. And I'll tell you something else. A lot of these films I go back and I watch and I think, oh well, it's shit because I was 13 when I watched it. So I've had a great opinion of this film for all this time, but it doesn't actually hold any water. Pulp Fiction for me is one of the only ones I can go back and watch, and I don't feel like it's dated. It still surprises me. It still makes me laugh, and I've seen it quite a lot of times. I still appreciate the casting of that film. The casting of that film is fucking great.
That's my favourite. I've always definitely
genius bringing John Travolta back. Genius letting Sam Jackson just go for it.
Okay, so originally it wasn't going to be John Travolta. Originally, it wasn't going to be Vincent Vega. It was going to be his brother in the role. And I can't remember who it was that he wanted. And it's a really obvious name. It's doing my tits in. But
Jim Travolta.
Yeah, no. Whoever it was turned the part down. And then they said to him, right, who do you want then? He went, well, actually, do you know who I'd love to play it is, and we could change it to Vincent Vega, his brother, because obviously he built this whole world anyway. And he says, John Travolta, and Miramax and everyone just went, what? Really? And this is amazing. So what he did, he invited John Travolta over to his apartment that he was renting, because obviously he's made a big name, but he hasn't made a lot of money at this point. You know, and he's living in this rented apartment. It's a fucking mess. And what he does, he invites John Travolta over to kind of romance him and try and get him involved in this film, to try and kind of sweet talk him into it, show him the script and all this sort of stuff. And John Travolta walks in. Now, bear in mind, John Travolta at this point owns a 20-bedroom mansion house. He's got 3 private jets. He's got apartments all around the world. And he walks into Quentin Tarantino's apartment that he's renting in LA, in Hollywood, and goes, holy shit, I lived in this place. And it was fucking John Travolta's apartment when he first moved to LA. And Tarantino had ended up renting the same place. And basically Tarantino just sat there and sang songs from Grease and quoted lines from Grease and Saturday Night Live at John Travolta. And then they sat down and played Grease the board game together. And he was there for a few hours just chatting about, you know, like his life and stuff like that. And he basically, that's where we agreed to do the
so
film.
Originally he wanted Michael Madsen to play him. But he played his brother in Reservoir Dogs. And he chose instead to appear in Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp.
Yes, and really regretted it. Yeah.
No shit, he did. Fucking hell. I mean, it's a great character, Vincent Vega, cool as fuck. Actually, like, says all those things. So the bit where it has to date, he'd take his boss's wife out for the day, and he's really having a word with himself about don't fuck this up, don't sleep with her, don't try anything. You're going to be nice. You're going to go home. You're going to say thank you, and you're going to fucking go masturbate, and that's it. That's how you're going to deal with this. It's that cool and calm about him. He always seems slightly stoned, which when you see him scoring big bags of heroin and shooting it up, you kind of know why he looks like that. Because he's messing with some dangerous stuff in those films. But anyway, even the supporting cast, fantastic. Rosanna Arquette, you got Eric Stoltz, you got Bruce Willis.
Do you know who was auditioned for the role that Rosanna Arquette had in that film? Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh my God!
Could you imagine that? Although I'm sure he'd have probably made it work somehow. I mean, that's the thing is, you know, the amount. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, he's a good director when he's good. I mean, and even when he's not particularly good, like we were talking about this earlier. Let's jump forward right to the current one, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That is the epitome of what he's doing now, rewriting history to suit his own needs, dividing people by challenging them into thinking that Bruce Lee isn't the legend everybody thinks he is. He was a bit of a twat, and he tries to show Bruce Lee up. And I had to do a little bit of delving into this just to make sure I had my facts straight, to see whether it was meant to be a slight against Bruce Lee. And from what I saw, I get the opinion that Bruce Lee is a bit of a sticking point for Tarantino because he knows people in the industry that talk about Bruce Lee having worked with him as stuntmen.
And he tags them. He tags them. Like, he makes heavy hits on them. You know,
and also not just that, he really doesn't like their work ethic. He thinks they're all fucking useless.
He thought lazy. He thought Western stuntmen were, compared to the people he worked with back in his homeland, that he thought they were just really lazy, weren't willing to take the risks that they should, got injured too easily and would take days off because of their injuries, and then he'd go in hard on them, you know, and he'd purposefully go in hard. He'd tag them with his fist and his feet and his elbows, and
So I mean, it's an interesting film. The film is Once Upon a Time is about two characters that didn't exist: Rick Dalton and his stuntman Cliff, who've been together for years in movies. Rick Dalton's nearing that point in his career where his pot belly's starting to show, the roles aren't quite as juicy. He's resorting to playing bad guys in people's fucking Western shows and stuff. And it's a tough time for him. Now, this character didn't exist, but based on other characters that did exist. However...
And the stuntman Cliff,
However, Sharon Tate, the female protagonist in the film, did exist and was murdered by the Manson family. So... I believe that Tarantino grew up when this was happening and it stuck with him forever. What would have happened if this beautiful actress who he liked hadn't been murdered in that horrible way? So the whole film is basically about if Rick Dalton and Cliff had lived next door to her, how the events might have turned out. Instead of her getting murdered, they might have gone to the wrong house and Rick Dalton and Cliff had sorted it out instead.
Yeah,
and it's, again, I can't fault him. It's not a bad idea, that wish list of things you could change. If you could change something, you know, if history was up to you, how could you rewrite it to save innocent people or kill a mass murderer like Hitler? And I get it, but it's just strange. It would have worked as a straight up film set in the real world. Do you know what I mean? Because it almost is, but there's little twists. So at the end of the film, what should happen is Sharon Tate should be murdered, and whoever else got murdered by Manson as well should be murdered at the same time. And that's not what happens. It ends optimistically. It's got an optimistic ending.
Yeah.
With Rick Dalton being on the driveway of his neighbours, who were Sharon Tate and Roman Polanski, and being invited inside, which obviously opens that idea that if he gets in with Roman Polanski, his career's not over. They start to do
she's
a fan
of him, though, isn't she?
Yeah,
she's
exactly. And so is he. So is he. So it ends with that optimism, that sort of feeling that Rick Dalton's career might not necessarily be over, because he might be Travolted. He might be brought back from the dead by another director, and it's a great fucking idea. It's a great idea. It's kind of
a really
sweet.
film. I watched it last night for the first time. I don't know if you've ever seen it, have you, Lummy? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, so
I saw it last night, and it's long. Thanks for the heads up, Webby. I mean, it's 2 hours and 46 minutes, I think, and some of it didn't need to be there, but I just found it thoroughly charming. I mean, DiCaprio and Pitt together, just a really awesome duo in that film.
Yeah, great.
But Brad Pitt in particular, it just comes across as such an affable bloke, and it's just, his character's brilliant, even though there is this rumor, this story behind him that he's murdered his wife, and it even shows you them on the boat with him with the harpoon and her like really going in hard on him, and you're kind of like, did you murder? Because everything else you see from this guy, he's just an absolute gentleman, to the point where he takes the hippie girl in for a ride and talking. She's like, well, I could definitely fuck you, and he's like, yeah, but how old are you? And she's like, well,
nobody's ever asked me that before.
Yeah, I'm old enough to fuck you. And he's like, yeah, but I'd probably need to see some ID. And she's like, really? And he's like, yeah. And it's like, it's like a breath of, for that time, when you consider they live next door, or Rick lived next door to Roman Polanski, and I was surprised that they didn't go in on the Polanski rumors.
I'm not, because it's such a fucking minefield to deal with Polanski.
Is it? I mean, if you're, I know to work with and stuff like that, but if you're referencing him, I just thought that in my mind, I expected him to. I mean, it wouldn't work with the film because obviously,
it's not the point of the film, is it?
No, it's not.
No,
it's not.
I guess it is a love story to Hollywood in that classic sense. But yeah, to see this fucking World War II vet that's now a stuntman, and the bit where he finds out he's not going to be working with him anymore, and they decide to have the last knees up. It's kind of cool about everything. Yeah, it's really cool. And also, he's got a fucking awesome dog. That's really awesomely.
The dog is brilliant. Yeah,
really well trained.
The dog is brilliant.
And that bit where he's coming up on the LSD cigarette and he's pouring the dog food out.
Yeah,
and he forgets to do the click, doesn't he, to get the dog fed? So when they actually burst in to get him, the dog's fucking starving. So he clicks and it goes straight for the bad guys. It's quite cool. But that was some fucking violent shit, man.
Really graphic. Yeah,
I mean, Jesus Christ, he really, really bashed the fuck out of some women in that. It was pretty horrible to watch.
It was just against the mantelpiece.
Yeah, and then the coffee table, and then the counter, and he just bashes that ginger girl's face in. The other girl, Jesus Christ, she's not very lucky. She gets like dog food tin chucked at her face, it mashes her face.
The thing is, you just see him then go off to hospital, and that's the end of it. You don't hear anything else from Cliff. You just then Rick just goes and hangs out with Polanski, and
life goes on.
Exactly. But it's great. So what did you say? So both your favorite Tarantino film is Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think mine's going to be Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs. I mean,
I think because it is all the different stories, I think it's rewatchable quite a lot. That one, I don't know why. I think it's interesting that you can.
I want to watch Pulp Fiction this week. Actually, it's made me want to.
It's a cracker. You forget that it's in the wrong order as well. I always forget that it's in the wrong order. Like the film starts at the end, and the middle's the next bit, and then the middle's the end, and the beginning is the middle. It's fucking great. It's cool.
It's funny because Kill Bill. I mean, obviously, having a film that's got a sequel in it as well. Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2. What did you think of Kill Bill?
Now you say that, but technically they're the same film. In fact, they were released as one cut. He always wanted it to be one film, but he didn't.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's one story. Okay, there are bits in Kill Bill that I absolutely fucking love that are really funny and really brilliantly written.
Well, you know why it was shown in black and white over here in America at first? Is to
because allegedly we can't handle that much blue. Yeah, because he kills like how many? The 87 is it? I can't remember how many people are in the bad guy group, but he fucking kills. She kills 87 of them.
But in Japan, it was full color.
I've seen the full color one.
Yeah.
I can handle that.
The thing with this is, I always thought it was a bit of a money grab to put it in 2 parts, because I remember when it came out of cinema and we were told it was one film, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. It was in 2 parts, and everybody went crazy. Like, what? Why is it coming out in 2 parts?
I don't really see it as a money grab, because I think it's a given that any Tarantino film that comes out is going to be bankable because it's Tarantino.
But to put it in 2 parts, I mean, anything that does that is a bit, you know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, because
I don't think they'd get away with it now with all the director's cuts and that come out on streaming and everything. I bet they won't be able to do this now.
Yeah, but you won't be able to sit there and watch a 6-hour movie. It's just impractical. There is a cut that came out that said it in multi.
Justice League was 4 hours long, wasn't it? So how long?
Only because it were in slow motion.
Yeah, but how long is Kill Bill each film? I bet it's 2 hours each, is it?
I would have thought, probably pushing 4.5 hours.
So you could stick that on like HBO Max nowadays. Do you know what I mean?
Again, to understand that film, you have to understand a little bit about Tarantino and what his bag is, what he's getting at, what he loves. So that whole film is an homage again to fucking 70s martial arts era. What's the one with the guy in it, David Carradine, who was in
Kung Fu.
He's been in a load of like old school.
It wasn't originally wanting to go to him. I can't remember who he wanted the part to go to, but whoever it was refused to do all the martial arts training. He's like, nah, I don't want to do all that martial arts training. So that's why they got David Carradine in.
Now, the thing about I could pick parts of Kill Bill out that I think are almost perfect. I think it's got one of the best child actors in it at the end, where she finally catches up with the daughter. Her daughter's really believable. Bill is actually quite menacing when you get there. You're not sure how it's going to pan out. You just don't know if he's going to fucking kick her ass or if they're going to make up. You don't have a clue. But there's some really strange bits, there's some really weak links in it. Personally, I've never been a fan of Lucy Liu as an actress.
No, do you know what? She actually got given more lines in that. She got given a part that she wasn't supposed to have. So there's a part in it that was supposed to be just purely Japanese spoken. And in the end, he ended up changing it for a part for her because he loved her performance in... No, it was something else. No, something else that she was in. And it was just a really unlikely film that I didn't expect Tarantino to watch. But he thought her performance was one of the finest acting displays he'd ever seen.
Something like Memoirs of a Geisha or something like that.
No. It was. I keep wanting to say Wild Wild West, but she wasn't in that. But it was something
like that.
It's going to annoy me.
Have a little Google. But I mean, like I say, Kill Bill's a weird one, man. This is something that's a bit of a bugbear for me, is that I think he's foot obsessed. I keep saying this to you, Gittins.
No. Actually, I did some research on this. He is completely open about it and references. In fact, he references it in From Dusk Till Dawn, where there's a woman who sticks her whole foot in his mouth when she's dancing on the table, and he said that is the reference to. Yeah, I am. Yeah,
he loves feet.
Loves feet.
Especially bony toe feet. Like Uma Thurman's feet are like fucking hands, man. Her toes are like fingers. It's really weird. That whole wiggle your big toe bit. This is like 4 joints in her toes. It's really weird.
Lucy, Shanghai Noon was the.
Right, yeah. That's a good movie.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's a good film. It is a good film.
Have you seen Shanghai Nights?
I have.
Yes, I have.
I went to the cinema with my eldest brother to see that. We loved it.
It was all right. It was all right.
It was amazing.
But also, obviously, on Kill Bill is where the controversy happened between him and Uma Thurman, where he convinced her to do a stunt that she did not want to do. Basically, the stunt coordinator and her double weren't on the set that day, and the driving scene where she was chase and she lost control of the car, had a huge crash, really damaged her knee. kind of really fucked her up quite a lot, actually, and it ended their working relationship, and they just stopped speaking. And it was in 2000. It wasn't until 2018 that they started speaking again, because in that big Harvey Weinstein case, where Uma Thurman was one of the people that was trying to take legal action against him, Tarantino went back through all of the rushes and gave up all of the footage where there was anything to do with Harvey Weinstein, so that they could use it for the legal case, and that's where they started talking again.
Yeah, I've heard him express that she is his perfect leading lady and always will be, and he totally fucking loves her. He idolizes her, and that's where his interest in her being the lead in his movie was. But there's some nice touches in that movie as an homage to martial arts. There were some really nice touches.
Yeah.
Some of the training sequences are quite ridiculous and far-fetched, but they're really funny. The guy with the beard who keeps sweeping his beard and teaches her the palm exploding.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah, there's some really nice little touches. The standing on the end of the sword and everything. I like the bit where she goes to meet the sword maker as well, Hattori Hanzo.
That's all. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Really cool. Yeah, man, there's some good bits. Michael Madsen's good in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty cool as one of the baddies. But yeah, I preferred part 2 to part 1.
Yes, me too. Yeah, I did as well.
I'm not sure if that's
popular. Again, that is only a film. I've only seen the Kill Bills once each, so it's.
You had a poster of them up on your wall in your bedroom.
No, I didn't.
What Tarantino film did you have on your wall? It wasn't a
Pulp Fiction. No. Oh, Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs. I had.
It was an image from the Golden Girls.
Yes, that's it. It was him as Elvis. No, it was. Must have been Reservoir Dogs. I think. I guess what's interesting now is, has Tarantino's movies, has his work aged? He's matured.
Is he still as bankable as he was because he's so divisive and so, to put it bluntly, an older white guy? Like people have had a problem with him using the N-word in all his films he's used them in because he's white. Even if you're putting him in the mouths of a black person, it's still hard to quantify your reasoning for doing it. It's like you almost have to have permission from the people that are in the film.
I get that, but I think when you I get that, but when you write dialogue in the way that Quentin Tarantino does, it is a word that you do occasionally still hear, and it is a shocking word, and you do hear certain types of people using that word. So if it then crops up in a Tarantino conversation and it isn't gratuitously used, then I personally, but I'm not the person who would ever be offended. So it's not really up to me, to be fair, as to whether he's allowed to use that word. You're absolutely right, but I would argue that would be his defense. Within that, I think for me, Tarantino's latest films, it strikes me as, like a band like the Arctic Monkeys released the first album, and it just seems to say so much, and it's really like you can really feel experiences in a first album that band have had. They've got so much to say and so much detail and so much personality and pizzazz, and it's really on point and sharp. And then the second album, sort of, and the third album, maybe not as much. And then they start to experiment. And I feel like Tarantino's maybe gone that way a bit, potentially.
Everybody does. Does. It's that falling into the trap of the director you wanted to become when you first started out. You know what I mean? And I guess he is a victim to that. Incidentally, after today, when I was doing my research, I did hear about this a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't really take it in. I didn't realize that he's done his first novel. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has been turned into a novel. So I bought it today. It was only £4 on Amazon if you're interested. Because there are things in it that explain a little bit more about this Bruce Lee thing, goes into a little bit more detail about things you don't see in the film. Deleted scenes, they're all in the book, apparently.
Well, actually,
the thing that made me question it, though, was I did that, that Amazon thing where you can look inside?
Yeah.
And it lets you see the first few pages of the book.
One giant foot.
And it's written so lazily. It's not a novel, it's a script without the dialogue.
Right. He can't write very well. So early years at school, he had an IQ of something like 60. And he
spent the rest of his life making up for that and compensating for it.
He couldn't write very well. He wasn't academic at all. But if you asked him about a film, he would tell you every detail about that film. Any film that he'd watched, he would be able to break it down as a young kid, because that was his education. That's the time he spent with his mom and things like that. But writing actually isn't his strong point. Writing is not his strong point.
Dialogue writing,
absolutely. But that's why that book makes sense. That makes sense that it's like that.
I'll let you know about those deleted scenes when I finally get them.
But a lot of the deleted scenes talk about, feature in other projects that he did. So I can't remember. There was a film that a script he made that never really saw the light of day, but it ended up being True Romance, the basis of True Romance. Or there was a scene that he took out of Pulp Fiction, I think. And it became like...
Mate, the trouble is with that movie is which fucking scene, because if you're talking about the scene where Christopher Walken comes to see Dennis Hopper in his trailer and they fucking torture him to death. Is it Christopher Walken? I think it's Christopher Walken. And they torture him, making him think that... Because he's going on about Italians. You're not Italian. You're not Italian. Well, what do you mean? Well, the Moors came over to Italian and they were all black and they fucked all the Italian women. So you're actually descended from black people. And he's saying this to the face of the gangsters. It's so Tarantino. It's so fucking ballsy. And as a response to it, Christopher Walken's character, forgive me if that's the wrong actor, he starts kind of laughing and joking along with him. But then he fucking loses his shit. He's just like, right, that's enough of that big mouth. And he kills him.
You're on about in which film?
I'm on about True Romance. But I think what I'm trying to say is in True Romance, it could be any number of scenes or lines that were taken from that. For example, you got that character Drexel, played by Gary Oldman, who's the white wannabe black guy with the dreadlocks, the drug dealer, and he talks in a Jamaican patois like fucking Chet Hanks. And it's really like, oh my god, this is horrendous.
Maybe that's what Chet Hanks based his life on.
I think it is, man. I think it is.
Yeah, we don't feature Chet Hanks enough on this show. I feel like
enough. Finger pop.
I'll tell you what's really weird about that film. Even if Tarantino redid it and recast it himself, most of the characters in it, I can't see them being played by anybody else. Michael Rappaport's amazing in that film. You got Brad Pitt as the stoner on the couch.
Yeah,
it is one of those love story. It is true romance because it's about a couple that will do anything for each other. I will die for you. I will kill for you. I will fucking burn this world to the ground for you.
Just like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Just like Maid Marian and a Merry Men.
And there we go, full circle again.
We are.
Quentin Tarantino's Maid Marian.
Do any comments about Tarantino?
We haven't got any. No, the comments have gone a bit quiet. But I was going to say earlier, somebody did mention this supposed Star Trek script that.
Oh yeah. It's been attached to for quite a while.
What do you think of that? I mean, he's supposed to have already written this thing. He
has, but he's no intention of ever directing it now. He's going to do one more film and then he's retiring. That's another thing. He's one of those directors that doesn't outstay his welcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not yet. We don't know.
You don't know, yeah. But yeah, apparently that's all he's got to say is one more film he's got in him.
Do you reckon he regrets doing that, though? Because he said, didn't he, all along, I'm only going to do this many films, and then people are counting down, and he's got to that one, he's probably thinking, shit, it's going to be Star Trek now if I don't.
I think the problem is with somebody like Tarantino is he can't stop his fucking brain, and if he comes up with a good idea, he's going to move the earth to get that idea done.
Yeah.
And nobody can do it like him, so while I can still do it, I'm still going to do it. Divisive as he may be, annoying or irrelevant, I don't know, but what I do know is I'm glad I live in a world where Tarantino's around. Do you know what I mean? I always look forward to seeing his films. They're not always amazing, but his classic movies.
I want to go back and watch them again. The thing is, with a lot of these directors, I think we talk about on the show, they kind of get a free pass because the body of work, they've got so many good hits in there, or the ones that are cult classics. You kind of think that lets them do whatever they want. It's a bit like what's he called? M. Night Shyamalan, isn't it?
Oh, man, I watched one of his latest ones last night. I watched Glass. Have you seen that yet?
No, I'm not.
Hang on, is that the one that's the trilogy of Unbreakable?
Yeah. So you got Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson, and there's another movie called Split.
Which is a great film. Great film.
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, it's not too bad at all.
And then James McAvoy's in the next one, isn't he? Yeah.
Split is about a guy who has 23 different personalities and is a murderer.
Okay.
And in this film, they're all in the same film together.
Yeah.
Now, what I wanted to say about it was I really enjoyed like 1 hour 45 minutes of this movie. I thought it was really all right. I really liked learning a bit more about the characters, seeing them all together again, you know, all that. I'm thinking, where are you going with this? And then the last 15 minutes, it was like, fuck it, I'm done with this. And it seemed to he just threw it out the fucking window. It was
What I was going to say is his first couple of films were classics in a way. You know, he did Sixth Sense, didn't he, and Unbreakable. They're the two ones where you go, this guy's done some classic films here. Everybody remembers these. Then he started making stuff where you're like, that was...
Yeah, then he started trying to out-twist himself, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean there's a new one coming out.
Mark Wahlberg one, The Happening. Yeah. Where people keep dropping dead all the way through, and you're like, "What's going on?"
The wind's coming, run away!
I did watch
the trees.
There's a new one in there where people are, go swimming and get old in like minutes.
I liked the look of that trailer. It looked all right. It seemed a bit bizarre.
But I was going to say as well, people like Spielberg and that, they've got all the classic movies, and then the later ones are, they're not classics as such, are they? But
it's weird how you don't get many directors that dip their toe into other areas. Steven Spielberg's wheelhouse seems to be like U to 12-ish. He never does a 15 or an 18, and Tarantino never does a 15 or a 12.
Never directs any porn or anything.
I'd like to see him switch hats for a bit and see Steven Spielberg have a bash at a Tarantino script and vice versa.
Yeah,
because I want to see.
I'd like to see Tarantino direct an episode of Finger Bob and see how that works.
I can't put the picture back up again. You could play him.
God. Do you know what a time you lived in where you could walk into a studio for an audition like that and they'll be like, "Yep, you'll be perfect as a kids' TV presenter."
I reckon this guy. I reckon this guy fingered Bob to get the part. I reckon that was part of the conditions. No, he all brought them in. That was his idea. This guy. It's his show.
He sat at home, made some lazy ass.
I mean, it brings it full circle back to Rod Hull. I mean, how did he get on TV?
Do you think that's his nickname? Do you think like he did a bit of puppetry, made these little finger puppets, and his name's Bob, his name's Robert, and like down the pub, everyone was like, "Oh hey, it's Finger Bob," and he was just kind of like, "Hey, I like that name." Always.
And he went, he said, "That's not why I'm known as that name. Not for my puppet work."
What's the relation between Finger Bob and Finger Mouse? Are they the same thing? And I've got confused.
That's why I was no. Well, Finger Mouse was its own thing.
Okay. No, look, I think that is Finger Mouse there on the picture.
I think it is. I think it used to be Finger Bob, and then they made a cartoony
character.
We'll have to do a deep dive on Finger Bob.
Best and worst Finger Bobs.
Yeah, best and worst of Bob's fingers. The one with the shortest fingernail. Right, gentlemen. Well, that has been an interesting look back at Quentin Tarantino. It's been an interesting show. Thank you, everybody else, for joining in and leaving all your comments. Lumb, what you got going on this week? What's going on Box Office Radio this week?
Yeah, Box Office Radio tomorrow night. It's just a regular show tomorrow night, so we've got a bit of a mixed bag of soundtracks again for you. 8 o'clock on Box Office Radio on your device or on the website.
Nice.
The week after, I think it's going to be the Robin Williams special, that one.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Okay. Well, we can always do a best and worst Robin Williams next week, maybe, or Robin Williams retrospective or something.
That's a fucking great idea. Let's do that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, cool. Man. Lovely. What, a retrospective or best or worst? I'd rather do a retrospective, man. And
let's do a retrospective then. Yeah, let's do that. Because I don't want to pick bad films that Robin Williams has been in.
Yeah, I reckon between us, we know quite a lot about Robin Williams. I'm sure Lummy knows a lot about his early days and his more.
So Robin Williams retrospective, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that next week.
Yeah, awesome. We're not going to pick one film because it's just too awesome to pick.
Yeah, I think so. Webby, what have you got to recommend this week? Is there anything that's in Webby's box of recommendations that you're gonna stick on the telly box?
I just finished an interesting little show called Dave, which is about a Jewish guy who claims to be the best rapper in the world. Nobody's ever heard him rap, but when he starts rapping, he's pretty fucking good at it. So people start to take him seriously. That was a really interesting series. The first series is about him. He's a real guy. He made his name on YouTube, rapping.
Okay.
Loads of videos, made all his videos himself, and it's based on a true story, which is that he took his bar mitzvah money and decided to make some videos for YouTube using his songs.
Okay.
And then he took off on YouTube. Then they gave him a TV show, and I'm just in the middle of season 2 where it's gone from being completely unknown to a little bit more known, but struggling with the perils of trying to record an album and being famous and everything. That was quite interesting. Bit like Flight of the Conchords.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, cool. Okay.
Well, a bit like Flight of the Conchords, actually mixed with Atlanta by Donald Glover. That's good. Interesting.
I'm going to give that a try, folks. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for contributing to the show this week. Thank you to Daniel. Thank you to Enzo. Thank you to Martin. Thank you to Big T. Thank you to Daisy. And was there a Gemma? There was a Gemma in there as well.
Is that Wedgie?
Gemma.
Has she changed her name?
Gemma Wedgie, yeah.
Okay.
You should decide on a name.
Jim Wedgie.
Names.
Thank you to Nat. Thank you to Pop Not Broth. Thank you to Lummy, and thank you to Webby. Go and share the shit out of our stuff on social media. Come and find us on Twitter at It's All Geek Twit. Come and see us on Facebook. But until next week, we'll
have a lovely ice lolly, guys.
There'll be 7 days. Yes,
Stay cool.
Talcum powder is your friend, ladies and gents. See you next week. Goodbye.